If you look right behind me, you'll see the center of the universe. The reason it's called the center of the universe is because that's NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and all of the orbiters, probes, and spacecraft we've sent out into the solar system and beyond send all their signals right back here to be processed. And that will never be more apparent than in a few days when the next Mars rover named Perseverance concludes its 7-month journey to our neighboring red planet Mars, autonomously navigating itself for a terrifying 7 minutes, traveling from 15 times the speed of a bullet to a gentle 3 miles per hour touchdown, all while live streaming the key data the whole way down. And as many of you know, for me, this is like coming home, because long before I started making YouTube videos, I came here to work every day for 9 years, 7 of which were working on the last rover we sent to Mars named Curiosity. So today we're going to talk to some of my old friends and see the actual rover up close as I bring you up to speed on everything you need to know about this rover landing. Because once you have an overview of what's going to happen and what it even took to get us to this point, I feel certain you're going to feel just as pumped about this historic landing as I am. To accomplish that, we're going to talk about the who, what, why, where, and how of this rover. And we'll start with the why and the where we're going. 3.5 billion years ago, Earth and Mars were pretty similar. Both had liquid water to surface, and both were protected from the sun's radiation with magnetic fields. And so it begs the question, if life first developed on Earth at that time, could it have also developed on Mars? So this is a massive lake in Jezero Crater billions of years ago. And this is it now. This is where Perseverance is landing. The bottom of an ancient lake the size of Lake Tahoe, because using Earth as a guide, at the base of a river of fresh water is where scientists believe we have the best chance of finding evidence of past biological life on Mars. So thanks to Perseverance, we could be on the verge of the monumental first discovery of actual life outside our planet. And being able to pinpoint a landing spot this tight shows how NASA is constantly advancing its technologies. With Florida for scale, here's an oval showing the uncertainty of the landing spot for previous missions: Pathfinder in 1997, then Phoenix in 2008, Curiosity in 2012, and now Perseverance. Being able to shrink down a landing target just gives you way more options of interesting places to land. Plus, once you do land and start driving towards the actual science location, it can shave off a year or more of drive time. Not only does studying Mars like this help us understand Earth's past and future, but the rovers we're sending are the advanced scouts, taking data and notes for us on the ground and sending all the info back to Earth. They're also testing some new technologies, which I'll cover in a second, that humans will need to use when we're exploring the planet ourselves in the very near future. Because the first person to set foot on Mars is alive right now, and it could be you. And if none of that gets your heart pumping, and you're like, but Mark, why would we spend resources and time exploring the solar system when we still have big issues here on this Earth we haven't solved? I tackled that exact question, giving 5 reasons we can't afford not to invest in space in another video you can watch after this one. So that's the where and the why. Now let's talk about how we're going to do all that, because this is where it gets really wild. Meet Perseverance. And I should mention, I have my monthly videos all planned out about a year in advance, which is why exactly this time last year, I knew for this video I needed to fly down to check out the rover right before it got shipped off to Florida to be launched. But before I checked out the rover, I first stopped in to see Ben, who was my old boss. When I was here, he was leading a small team that designed the jetpack that lowered the rover to the ground. But now I heard he's all fancy, in charge of like 400 people, so I wanted to get a sense of how things have changed for him. So anyone we see walk by, you can like boss them around? About this guy right here, you can boss him around?
Yeah, I can boss him around.
Okay, cool. Go on. We first geeked out for a bit over a bunch of examples of parts from previous space missions. And a hardware wall like this is just a great illustration of what makes JPL such a cool place to work. Actually, I designed this. This is my hardware from Grail with Andy. This is cool because you got these like flexures for like temperature variation. So this isn't just for show. This is like literally when you're trying to figure out a way to do things. These are examples of how it's been done before, right?
Right, and a lot of these are made by examples of this is the way you shouldn't.
So that's why my hardware.
That's why your hardware's up there, right?
And so after that, we headed down to check out the rover and meet up with my friend Emily. But before we could just go in and see it, we had to get suited up because the rover is looking for signs of biological life, and we don't want to contaminate our samples before we even arrive. So a bunny suit and air shower can go a long way. Emily, by the way, was the vehicle assembly lead for the descent and cruise stages, which is a big responsibility. This is the rover.
The flight rover. It will be on Mars 12 months from now.
It's so complex when you come up and get this close. In fact, Perseverance is the most complex thing humans have ever built and sent to another planet. It's got laser, X-ray, and radar capabilities, plus 19 cameras, and a nuclear-powered battery system for energy. And while it might look pretty similar to the past rover Curiosity, all the science instruments are completely different different because the science objectives have changed. The most notable difference is this time the drill isn't there just to create rock dust to study on the rover. Perseverance has a hollow drill bit to core out a chunk of rock the size of a piece of chalk and then package it up and leave behind 43 separate samples for a future mission to collect and send back to Earth. That way we can study the samples for those past signs of life using the most state-of-the-art instruments on Earth that we could never fit on a rover. So then to capture that chalk-sized rock sample, not only is there an arm on the outside, but this time there's one on the inside too.
It is a miniature robot arm inside the body of the rover that manipulates the sample tube. And there's one right here.
Wow. And so is this what you leave behind?
Exactly.
Is it fair to say this is like the poop of the rover?
Exactly.
Is that good? Do you like that analogy? Because they didn't like it earlier.
Yeah.
You like it?
We do like to say that the rover's going to poop out samples.
Okay, good. See, that's a good analogy. So Perseverance is really only the first leg of returning a piece of Mars to Earth. Future missions will complete what I like to call the poop, scoop, and shoot maneuver. This is my friend Liz, by the way, and she's in charge of all the testing for the sample retrieval system.
We're doing things that nobody else does, so we have to test it.
So she tests all sorts of different configurations in a chamber that recreates the extreme temperatures and pressures to make sure it will function on Mars. Because once you send something to space, it's gone, and you can't exactly fix it, so it just has to work, which is why testing is such a big deal here at JPL. My buddy Matt here mentioned another way this is done.
So we built two spacecraft, one that goes to Mars and one that we keep here on Earth to test. So this is an exact replica of Curiosity, who's driving around on Mars right now. And we use this one to test driving around obstacles and driving over rocks.
And he knows a thing or two about driving over rocks because he is a rover driver for both Opportunity and Curiosity. This guy is like one of maybe 40 people in the world who has driven a vehicle on another planet, which is it's kind of a big deal. And so a few more cool things about Perseverance are that it has a mini helicopter drone stowed away on its underbelly named Ingenuity. This will be mankind's first powered flight on another planet, which sort of makes this a right turn as well. The rover and the drone will get great footage of each other, but we're mainly testing it out so that in the future we might use drones to scout out terrain for us, or get samples from hard-to-reach locations, or you could have swarms of drones carrying materials for humans from one site to another. Perseverance is also testing out a new instrument called MOXIE that basically amounts to a mechanical tree, because its function is to convert CO2 into oxygen, which future explorers will need to breathe and for rocket fuel.
The rover has been in this clean room for about a year and a half. Started as just a chassis, just the skeleton.
And then all the teams and engineers have been taking turns coming down and building up their part until it's done. In fact, I was in that exact position on Curiosity, designing my hardware for about 3.5 years, and when it was all tested and complete, fully graded on the rover right here in this room. And then for the other 3.5 years, like I mentioned before, I was working with Ben on a small team of engineers on the jetpack descent stage. So now we've covered the where and the why we're going, also the how we're going to do all that with the rover. Now let's talk about the what. For what's going to happen this Thursday when it lands and what you should expect to see. As I edit this video, the spacecraft is gliding toward Mars at a cool 48,144 miles per hour. How fast is that? It's this fast. It's 15 times faster than a bullet. It's traveling the length of 100 soccer fields in exactly this long. And it will keep on that trajectory until the big moment on Thursday when it starts its entry, descent, and landing, or EDL. It's also known as the 7 minutes of terror because we've literally got 7 minutes to get from the top of the atmosphere to the surface of Mars, going from 13,000 miles per hour to 0 in perfect sequence and perfect timing, and the spacecraft has to do it all on its own with no help from us on Earth. When it first hits the upper atmosphere, the friction causes the heat shield to start glowing like the surface of the sun, all the while thrusters are firing to steer and adjust its course towards the target location. And that aero braking gets rid of 99% of the energy, so for the last 1% we deploy a supersonic parachute. Then we've got to pop off the heat shield we no longer need, like removing the lens cap, so the radar can start viewing the ground. But even with the parachute, it's still traveling 200 miles per hour, which is way too fast for land. And so that's where we cut loose of the back shell and fire the rocket. But we can't quite land in this configuration because the rockets will pick up too much debris and damage the rover. So then we lower it from a 21-foot rope and gently land the rover on the surface as my sky crane zooms off to face an honorable, catastrophic ending as far away from the rover as its remaining fuel can. And so in just 7 minutes, the spacecraft has completely metamorphosized, shedding all its sacrificial elements until you're left with just a rover sitting alone safely on the surface of Mars. Now everything you just saw was a CGI animation, but a few days after landing, we'll all be blown away by actual HD landing footage from the 22 cameras and 2 microphones on board. We'll see the parachute inflate and hear the crunch of the aluminum wheels as they touch down and make contact with the Martian surface. And because Mars is so far away, to get a signal from the vehicle to our planet, it takes about 12 minutes at the speed of light. So that means after the spacecraft sends a signal that it's reached the top of the atmosphere, by the time that signal reaches Earth to kick off the 7 minutes of tear, for at least 5 minutes, the vehicle has actually already been on the surface, either alive or dead. Which is why it has to be autonomous. That means it makes all its own choices on the exact timing of things and where to steer without anyone from Earth controlling it. Which means all we can do is watch and monitor and hope. And this is a good time to remember that as easy as these dedicated teams of engineers make it look, landing on Mars is really hard. Historically, only about half the attempts have been successful, but the willingness to take big risks to reap big rewards is the foundation on which NASA is built. The live stream to watch the landing starts on Thursday, February 18th at 11:15 a.m. Pacific. It will hit the top of the atmosphere an hour and a half later at 12:48 p.m., which starts the 7 minutes of tear, and we touch down at 12:55. I will leave a link to the live stream in the video description, as well as some other really cool sites, such as this video game-like demo, where you can interactively experience the 7 minutes of tear in preparation for the landing. We covered the where and the why we're going. We covered the how with the rover, and the what with the landing details. Now, it's time for the who, the human side, to sending robot explorers to other planets. What makes NASA and JPL really great aren't its robots, it's the people who build them. And while it's not really possible for me to capture what it's going to feel like for them to see a landing this Thursday, the best I can do is to show you what it felt like for me 8 years ago when I was in a very similar situation. I made a video when Curiosity landed, but at the time my channel had less than 100,000 subscribers, so I know that most of you haven't seen this footage, but even if you have, with the landing less than a week away, it's a great time for a second watch to get you pumped up. And for context here, you should know that during my time I was working on the rover, I had a son and lost my mom to ALS. And while my contribution was small relative to the overall picture, I tried to capture the human element here of what it feels like to basically have 7 years of your life and career vindicated with that beautiful phrase, touchdown confirmed, we are safe on Mars. So with that, consider this my tribute to everyone out there working to push the limits of human understanding with a little bit of help from adorable little young Mark Rover.
So we're still 2 days from landing, but you can see the news media has already started to descend on JPL.
Since we're all kind of nerds around here, our schools are a little different than most.
This is the landing ellipse for the rover, and we all kind of place guesses on where we think it's going to come down.
So we're headed down to NASA JPL to hang out with everyone and watch the landing. So it's pretty exciting, kind of sick to my stomach at the same time. Basically 7 years of my life and career come down to about 7 minutes. Kind of freaking out.
I owe half my chromosomes to that guy right there.
Excellent chance.
Excellent chances. Okay.
Cruise stage separation.
When Mark gets nervous, he starts shivering like he's freezing. Right now it's probably about 85 degrees out here, so Mark is really nervous.
We are in power flight. Standing by for SkyCrane. SkyCrane is ready. Touchdown confirmed. We're safe on Mars.
kicker for the Detroit Lions. He holds the NFL record for the longest field goal ever, which means he's really good at kicking footballs. And this is a robot I made, which, not to brag, is also really good at kicking footballs. So to settle who's better between the two of us, we're going straight to Detroit. Mano a mano, man versus machine. But to do that, I'm gonna need an 8-second travel montage. I arrived an hour before him to get the full NFL experience, and so I could soak up the fact that I had an entire stadium just to myself in the most professional way possible. He's got word, man. He's about 10 minutes out. He thinks he's coming here just to teach me all about, like, kicking mechanics and the science behind kicking field goals, which is partially true. I am curious, but the real reason I'm here is I built a machine that can kick really far field goals. I think it can kick it farther than any human. But if I'm really going to test that hypothesis, I need to be kicking against the one human that can kick field goals the farthest, and that happens to be that frame. Originally, a guy named Tom Dempsey, who had a unique kicking foot, held the record with a 63-yard field goal, and no one could beat that for 43 years. But then Prater came along and beat his record by 1 yard with a 64-yard field goal in 2013.
History is made.
And he still holds the record nearly a decade later. There he is. And not only did Matt show up, but to my absolute delight, he brought along his personal trainer. Who's this? What up, Matt? How are you, buddy? And so after I joined him for his standard warm-up and stretch routine, I went straight for the gym. So you practice just as much as everyone else in the team? I definitely don't practice. Everyone on your team is watching this one, guys. What do you want? Kicker until it's the end of the game. Then I asked him how to kick really long field goals, and he said it all comes down to just two things. And legacy makes intuitive sense, but then he told me the second critical factor is making contact 2.2 inches up from the bottom of the ball. Extensive research has been done that backs up these two factors as the most critical for maximizing distance. So after that, he showed me the proper technique to achieve those two factors.
From an angle, so your plant leg should be as close and straight as you can, and at this angle, so your kicking leg can be straight. So right when you're making contact with the ball, your kicking leg should be locking right at contact.
See. And where do you hit the ball?
So you'll hit the ball, you know, the little bone right in
Yeah, that's right here.
right there.
This will be the first time in my life I've legitimately attempted to kick a field goal. But after Matt's coaching, he made it seem like it was pretty similar to playing soccer. And I like to play soccer. You shouldn't have done this, but you taught me everything you know. So I say we have a competition, me versus you. I thought of a wager we could have. That Gatorade thing, it's got ice water in it. The loser gets done. You okay with that? This is pretty confident. I don't know. We'll see. Look at this guy sandbagging. So with that, we were ready to go, and this was his first kick, which he lined up left-footed, which didn't go well for me, because he's not left-footed. This was a disaster. And then it was my turn. All right, Rover. Nope. Laces out. No, everything you taught me. Yep. I like that. Got it. Nailed it. We were back live. This is a 25-yarder. They might say, look, what do you mean 25? You're only on the 15-yard line. And that's true, but the end goal itself is 10 yards, so you always improve that with the kick distance.
Got it. Good shot.
All right, Prater, let's see what you got, pal. Or this. Don't let this bother you. What's up, right there? Oh, goodness, that was right in the middle.
Got it. Crushed it. Got it. Easy. Room to spare.
Pressure. Oh no. That almost went over the net, man. Now that we were back to a 45-yard field goal, I was just stoked to still be in this. Oh! That's short! he's up against, we have to go back just about 1 year, because that's when, with the help of my buddy John here, we tested our first prototype. John's really good with this kind of rugged, high-strength build, because he's worked in the industry doing props and special effects. And so at the end of that first day of testing, we could make a 60-yard field goal, but honestly, it was kind of just barely. We needed more power and accuracy because it was really inconsistent. But to understand how we fixed it, first we need to know how it works. Fundamentally, we've got a hub attached to an axle here. It can freely rotate, and if you slap a kicking leg on the end, they both rotate together. Then if you put a winch on this side, connected to a wire that secures to the hub here, and then springs on this side also attached to a wire that attach to the hub in the same spot, then when the winch pulls down, the springs stretch out as the leg is cocked back into position. Now we just need a way to fire the thing. A quick release is a hook system that easily unhooks when you pull a cord. So if we put one of those here and then pull the cord, the springs now contract, which makes the leg spin real fast. For version 2 of the robot, everything had to get much more rugged and compact because we doubled the force from the springs to over a ton. And when we went out to test this time, it definitely did have more power, and our 60-yarders were looking much more promising. But because the football was making contact off to the side of the leg, it still wasn't as accurate as we wanted. So for version 3, we changed how the foot attached, which allowed us to hit the ball straight on. We also tried to determine the best foot diameter, as well as the best spot to make contact with the ball. But I still wanted even more power, which was tricky because there was already so much force that we busted our industrial strength quick release, which is why there's a loose bolt in the frame here, which is just never something you want to see. And so for the 4th and final version, we upgraded to a much beefier quick release, and then increased our spring force to 2 tons. We also got clever with some mechanical advantage by making the diameter of the leg sprocket twice as small as the driving sprocket. So it rotated twice as far, but in the same amount of time, which means we doubled the speed. With a big build like this, you are only as strong as your weakest link. So this process of prototyping, failing, and fixing helps flush out all the weak links as quickly as possible until hopefully there's none left. And so a year after we first started, this 4th version finally had the kind of power and accuracy I was hoping for, even if we were definitely pushing the physical limits in a few critical spots. For now, though, it was time to give Mr. Prater a proper introduction. So Ray Finkel is my surrogate. This is what I couldn't do barefoot. See if old Ray here can do better. Now, I'm not abandoning everything you taught me. Okay, 2 steps over. Okay, here we go. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Get up! That's my boy! That's my boy! That looks pretty easy, yeah. I hate to tell you that, but that wasn't full power. In fact, that was only 1/3 power. For a half-power demonstration, we went to the extra point location, where for reference, here is Prater, the mere human, kicking full power into the net, and then Finkel at half power, kicking it into the stands. And at this point, we poked the sleeping giant, because first of all, Matt suspiciously asked me to hold his next kick, and secondly, after that 50-yarder, he continued working his way down the field, despite my best efforts to even further rig the competition.
Oh my god. You real bad golf right here.
I had this great idea and arranged with my buddy Paul Mercala to get some drone racing footage of a field goal because he's the drone racing world champion, and that would just be so dope. This footage here is from a test session we arranged to see how cool it would look, and it turns out the answer is really freaking cool. But after we got everything set up, a staff member requested we didn't fly drone inside, so you're just gonna have to use your imagination as Prater bombs this 60-yarder. Which meant the next kick attempt would be farther than his NFL record. And one of the things Matt does so well is that technically you want to launch the ball at 45 degrees to maximize the distance on a kick. More than that, and you waste your energy in height. Lower than that, and it hits the ground prematurely. In real life, though, where the ball experiences drag from wind resistance, the ideal angle is closer to 40 degrees, which you can see Prater has down to a science.
This is 1 yard past the NFL record which this man holds. Get up, baby. Get up. It's good! Back a little further. You're crazy, dude. I'm putting on my rally cap for you, buddy. As much as I don't want to get doused with Gatorade.
And while Matt's taking a few attempts at this 70-yard field goal, let me 70 yards, Finkel rolled over to potentially win the competition and save me from an ice bath. All right, here we go. A little bit of train noise for good luck and good measure. And this is where Matt got a little taste of Finkel's true range of motion. This was about 80% full power. That's all you got to do, dude. That's all you got to do. 3, 2, 1, hit it! Go, baby, go! And so even with a terrible inefficient launch trajectory, we settled the question of man versus machine. That's the boy! Finkel! The hang time though is so high.
I think we're gonna get there.
I know! But since Finkel had made the trip all the way out here, we decided to keep going and try his foot next at an 84-yard field goal, which is an even 20 yards past the NFL record. But first, we wanted to try and figure out the foot speed of Finkel versus Prater. So we recorded a few kicks in slow-mo with the checkerboard background behind it. This is a trick I learned while at NASA that they've used for ages, because if you know the size of each of those squares, it allows you to watch back the clip and tell the speed of any moving object in the footage by converting grid boxes per second to miles per hour. So when you do this, you find Matt's foot is moving at an insane 48 miles per hour, which puts him right up with the elite place kickers and soccer players. The robot's foot, however, is traveling more than 30 miles an hour faster at a blazing 82 miles per hour. We also measured the ball speed after contact, and while Prater is at 80 miles per hour, which is again insanely fast, the robot clocks in at 120 miles per hour. And that checkered background speed trick is so cool that I invented this. I call it the 40-mile-an-hour blanket because it's a real soft, functional blanket on one side, but the other side has these squares that are sized just right so that if you film in slow-mo on your phone, the math works out perfectly so that you just count how many squares it travels in exactly 1 slow-mo second, and that's how fast it's moving in miles per hour. So for example, if I film this near start in slow-mo, then I play it back and just count the squares it crosses in 1 second. In this case, it's 28 squares. Then we know it was traveling 28 miles per hour. And just to prove this approach works, we used a radar gun to check our answer and it came up with the exact same speed. And so it turns out I throw a near football at 50 miles per hour and I can do a short sprint at 12 miles per hour. There are 40 total squares, which means you can measure anything up to 40 miles per hour with one blanket. But if you get 2 blankets, then you can unlock the achievement to measure things up to 80 miles per hour. And if you get 16.7 million of them, you can measure the speed of light. And it's not just a speedometer and a cozy blanket you can put on the bed, but the back is solid wood, which works great as a green screen for filming or for video call background replacement. And a very low quality are available on my relatively new website, markrover.com, where every single dollar of anything I sell goes right back into making builds and videos like this one. And even if you're like, I got plenty of blankets, Mark, I put all the critical square spacing info on the website so you can construct your own grid and still have fun with the science. And so now that we knew Finkel could blast these balls at 120 miles per hour, here was his first attempt from 83 yards, although still not quite at full power, and I'll explain why in a second. Okay, a little bit of horn. Now we're ready. 3, 2, 1. And when you see this, these balls were no Deflategate Brady special. These were the most inflated footballs I'd ever handled. You could barely dent them in with your hand. It's just the pressure from the robot foot was that high. The first kick had the worst possible trajectory, and so the hang time was hilarious. We had quite a bit of energy up in the air. I think we need to optimize this a bit. But straight is a gosh darn error. So for the next one, we arranged the foot to contact higher up on the ball so it wouldn't pop it up so much. But still not a full power kick. Go! Please! But this one was just short because of knuckleball and didn't pop up high enough. So now we knew exactly where to strike the ball to split the difference between those two, and we figured we might as well leave it all on the table and go full draw. Which makes now a great time to explain why we wanted to do this on every game. On our last trip to the practice field, we were totally dialed in, as you can see here. I mean, that thing is suborbital. As a reminder, this is a 60-yard attempt. This is only 4 yards shy of the NFL record. And as you can see, we've got a little room to spare as we pass through the uprights. So then just for fun, we opened it up and sent all 2 tons of spring force through the machine and into the ball, which is when this happened.
We're just going absolutely full, all of the
improvement would have been to swap the key shaft with a spline shaft because those distribute the load evenly among many surfaces as opposed to just one. Unfortunately, those spline shafts had a 2-week lead time, and we were flying to Detroit a few days after this.
Ray Finkel from 83 yards, full power plus a little more. 3, 2, 1. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Watch Finkel's head here. I'm sorry, buddy. And sure enough, it was the key that was the culprit.
Keys aren't supposed to do this. Like, that's bonkers.
And so despite the explosive finale, I'm calling this a W. Not only did Robot Ray Finkel beat the NFL record with a 70-yard kick at sea level with no wind, but he did it at 80% power in a super inefficient kick trajectory. On top of that, even though he lost a couple freaking legs in the process, he showed he's capable of bombing a 105-yard field goal into a slight headwind right off the turf with no tee. And so with all that, honestly, I was willing to let Prater off the hook, because an argument could be made that I technically sort of cheated. But his son Pax was already way too excited about the prospect, which I thought was just fantastic, until it turned out he got off easy by comparison. This guy stole my package from a porch, and he's about to open it in his house. Hello! But what he doesn't know is that this is the 3rd generation of a new and improved custom-built vape package that's recording him on 4 different phones and just released a pound of the world's finest glitter, along with some other nasty surprises. But to understand how we got here, we first have to go back in time a bit. Because that's when this couple stole a package from my porch. And even with the video footage, the police wouldn't do anything. So I vowed to use my engineering skills to go full Home Alone on these punks. Not just to avenge my package, but as a tribute to the 2 million packages that are stolen across America every year. And because packages are taken most in December, for the 3rd year now, it's sort of become a Christmas-time tradition for me to do my very small part to encourage future would-be porch pirates to choose a different profession in just the most fabulous way possible. So before we see how this year's version fares in the wild, I'm going to first walk you through all the upgrades my buddy Sean and I have been incorporating into this box over the past year. For starters, we updated the outer casing, this time going for more of a Cybertruck aesthetic. You can sort of see the evolution from year to year right here. As part of this, we created an intentional handle here in the hope that the package thief will grab it, not realizing we took a page directly from the Kevin McAllister home security plan by putting extra sticky glue on the underside. This is the exact same stuff used in those rodent traps, and as you can see here, it's incredibly strong. You'll also notice these 2 protruding rods. Those are the most critical improvement from last year, but more on that in a second. Under the hood, we made quite a few changes as well. The fundamentals are still the same, where you have a battery-powered, Arduino-based microcontroller on a custom-printed circuit board that gives instructions to these 4 phones, which allows us to record the thief no matter which side they open it from. But this time we upgraded the brains of the box itself to have its own SIM card too, so we can fully control all the functions of the phone at any time, including remotely triggering sounds to be played on command. And you'll see why that matters in just a bit. And this year, you'll see not 1, not 2, but 4 canisters of fart spray. I had the personal goal this year that anyone who opened this box would at least at some point comment on just how bad it smells. Stayed with that, I'm using the same absolutely wretched formula that almost killed Macaulay Culkin last year. Along with just a touch or 2 of essence of actual skunk. I'm going light on this stuff because it lingers much longer than the fart spray, and anything more than a couple drops just wouldn't be cool. And so these cans are turned by motors, which sprays the fart spray, and we keep spraying it every 30 seconds because first of all, it's ridiculous and hilarious. But second, and more importantly, so they get rid of the package out of their house before they realize there's 4 phones inside. And this design feature makes it so we pretty much recover our boxes 100% of the time from the closest trash can or dumpster, since we already know the location of the box at all times due to the GPS tracking on the phones. But if the box does get destroyed by a package-stealing glitter hater, all the phones will have already uploaded their footage to the cloud for me to see exactly what happened. And then of course we've got the main attraction, which is this spinning cup powered by a motor underneath here, which this year holds 15% more of the finest biodegradable glitter that money can buy. And so then after opening the box and just like sitting in a daze trying to process what the heck just happened, well that's when we start the countdown. 10, 9, And of course, we know nothing happens when it gets to the end. But having just been covered in glitter and fart spray, they're going to be terrified of what this would possibly escalate to next by the time the countdown ends. And then after the countdown, we have the police scanner. But this year we added LEDs, so it will light up the room in red and blue lights for added ambiance. This also allows us to illuminate the package thief's face with white light in case they open it in a darker setting. And then finally, we've got this lid, which still has these two holes with one-way film, so we can record what's going on even before it's opened. And as you can see, Kevin's older brother Buzz has also been working hard this year. He's releasing not just the fictitious Buzz Buds, but the entire Buzz collection. And it's just adorable when you hear some of these package thieves repeat that in excitement. And this is literally the box we use, but somehow they never bother to read the side with lots of little words that would totally give the whole thing away. And so now with the lid in place, you can see the function of those two rods from earlier, because when the lid slides off, they shoot out, which prevents the natural reaction of someone who just quickly put the lid right back on again. This happened quite a bit last year, and it just makes it way less fun for nearly everyone involved. And if you look at the CAD, you can see how these are designed such that once the plunger is extended out by this spring, this little floating chunk of steel drops down into the screw, which stops the plunger from being pushed back in. This is just a beautiful passive solution, and the only way to reset them to get the lid back on is to either wave a magnet here, which sucks that steel chunk up, thereby allowing the plunger to go back in, or to turn the whole thing upside down, which means the chunk falls out of the groove due to gravity. And for the final major design improvement, last year it was a hassle for our porch volunteers to have to bring the boxes in and charge them every night, and then remember to put them out the next day. There's also a problem if the box got stolen in the late afternoon, because the phone and the box batteries would be pretty low at that point. So this year we made a custom doormat that discreetly plugs in and then inductively charges the box at all times, so it's always ready to go. So the idea is, after the bad guy properly disguises itself and then comes sneaking by and steals it off the porch, all the batteries are at 100% charge, and the box knows that it's no longer on the mat, so it texts us that it's been stolen and starts recording and uploading footage and sending us GPS updates. So when they eventually get home and take off the lid, the circuit board brain knows it's go time and autonomously sets everything in motion.
Hello.
Now, is it petty to dedicate an entire year of your life to completely over-engineering a box just to shoot a little glitter at someone? Yes. But at the same time, could that creation still be just ridiculous and beautiful? Also yes. So that's Glitterbomb 3.0, and if you think this is cool and you want to support more efforts like this, you can get this super dope hoodie of the wireframe CAD model at markrover.com. After 10 years of YouTubing, I finally got some merch along with a cool new logo, and I can assure you that the money that was clearly saved by using the second-rate t-shirt model just went straight into making everything in the store super soft and comfortable and to give free returns. And so now all that was left to do was to send these boxes to porches all across America. Thanks to my friends at Simply Safe, who hooked us up with a bunch of cameras, we could monitor everything remotely and then just wait. And we didn't have to wait long. Our very first box was taken in.
Hello! Keep the change, you filthy animal!
And apparently, they didn't seem to appreciate the name calling or the quality engineering. Because in the morning, this is what we found. So it was one box down, but we still had 6 backups left. Explicitly top with her hands, this lady tries to wrestle the lid on in her sink for a solid 10 minutes. And eventually exploits our one Achilles heel and turns it upside down. And she got it. I mean, I'm not even mad. That's just impressive.
Hello. You guys give up? Or you're thirsty for more?
And at this point, I'm like, how is nobody mentioning the smell? So you can imagine how happy I was to see this.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Recovery sequence initiated. Hello. You gotta give up, or you're thirsty for more.
This one was another W for Team Fart Spray.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Wet Bandit reaction, because not only did his room get dusted with glitter, but he got doused with the fart spray, and then freaked out with the countdown, and then grabbed it by the mouse glue handle on the way to the dumpster.
Yes!
These guys had suspicions, so they took it outside to him.
Hello! You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Because I don't want anyone to feel totally depressed about humanity after seeing only the bad apples that make it into my video, just like last year, we set up a way to showcase the good apples too. So in some cases, we left it by an apartment mailbox and left tons of contact information all over the label. And 90% of the people did the right thing and just walked by and didn't take something that didn't belong to them. Then an additional 7% took it, but they were really trying to do the right thing by locating where it was supposed to go and then calling the number that was listed all over the label.
And they left us out by the mailbox?
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like, I do not want to be here.
In those cases, we would go retrieve the box from them and typically give them a couple $100 for being so cool. It's only that teensy remaining 3% that gets a star in my video. And that almost never fit my preconceived notion of what a package is. Like in this case, we had placed it by this mailbox, and then randomly a bunch of police showed up to arrest this guy who lived there. Then this teenage kid comes out and grabs the box, literally walking past several police officers in the process. I'm hopeful the fart spray changed his thoughts on stealing. And as we were in the process of putting all these boxes out, I kept getting spammed with all those pre-recorded scam calls. So I thought, how amazing would it be if I could send a glitter bomb to one of those guys? So I called up my buddy Jim Browning, who has a YouTube channel dedicated to reversing the remote connection on scammers' computers, in this case getting access to their CCTV footage, then disrupting the scam by warning the victim and or their bank. And so by teaming up, we were able to physically intercept 2 packages that were moments away from being delivered to scammers and then swap them out for winter mounts.
Have a good holiday.
And these packages contained more than $10,000 in cash that were able to return to their first very confused but then very grateful owners. And it's such a crazy, convoluted story that involves multiple continents, private investigators, the NYPD. But the problem is, it's like we rolled over this log and all sorts of interesting stuff came crawling out. So we're still chasing down leads and basically glitter bombing our way through the whole chain. And don't worry, we're being cautious and we're appropriately working with these things. At any rate, I was planning on putting all that in this video, but the whole situation has taken such a hard right and is still ongoing that I won't be ready to tell the full story for another couple minutes. And by the way, if you're thinking, how dumb could someone be? I would never send $15,000 in cash through the mail. Just hold your judgment until you hear the full story. The scammers' tactics have evolved way beyond just an email from a Nigerian prince. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel and Jim's channel if you want to hear how this whole thing pans out. Another new thing we tried this year is because I live near San Francisco and cars get broken into all the time up there. I was curious what would happen if we put one in a car seat and the window was busted, literally within an hour. We actually had a camera placed in the car and one across the street, but apparently Murphy's Law was in full force that day because the one in the car suddenly got corrupted and stopped recording, and then I'm sure the world's nicest, but unfortunately also the slowest Uber patron got picked up at precisely the worst possible moment. The whole thing took like 5 seconds total for them to smash the window, grab the box, and just be gone.
I don't know what this is. Brand new though.
My buddies in the field followed them for a bit in case they were just going to toss it out the window until we heard this.
That's why I was I got a gun in the car right now.
At that point, we decided to stay put and just watch the GPS as they drove all around the city streets for about 2 hours. And look, besides my theft, I'm not going to make any other accusations about them. I mean, maybe they're just a group of buddies who love to cruise around together for a couple hours and admire all sorts of different cars. But there's another explanation entirely that also fits the GPS evidence. They're just trying to find a bathroom. Either way, the batteries were almost dead on the box, so we decided to go with the Hail Mary option of, hey guys, it's me, the headphones box, of uploading a custom sound to the phone to see how they would react. So we don't want any trouble, so you can go ahead and open me, and you can have everything inside. We'll call it even. Now I can take that audio message and text it to the box. And then I could listen near real time as the clips were uploaded to the server. You can go ahead and open me, and you can have everything inside. We'll call it even. Probably not gonna go try and get that box back. And so while I'm left contemplating exactly what just happened, I'll leave you with my favorite reaction from this usual. you'll see my ice cream. Well, kind of. You'll have to first open this bag of frozen vegetables I camouflaged it in. But inside that bag, you'll find this cup and lid I designed. Now you might be thinking, psh, big whoop, Mark. But let me explain why the whoop is in fact very big. Because I can put my ice cream in here and the lid just barely slides on at room temperature. But then when you let it chill in the freezer for a bit and take it out, the lid is clamped onto the base with 500 pounds of force, thereby protecting it from anyone else in my house who will realize the trick is just to run room temperature water over the lid for about 30 seconds. And the reason this works is because the base is made from steel and the lid is made from aluminum. And aluminum shrinks more when it gets cold and it grows more when it warms up. This idea just occurred to me one day, so I made it. And that's the thing I love about being an engineer. If you have an idea about a thing and that thing doesn't exist, you can just will it into existence. So here's my big announcement. I've been secretly working for nearly a year on a month-long creative engineering course that will teach you how to use engineering and science to bring your own creative ideas to life. In this class, I cover my full engineering design process, from how I come up with the ideas, to prototyping, to finalizing the build, and giving a character. I talk through everything that I'm thinking, everything that I'm doing, and I do it 3 times. Over the course of a month, you'll watch me design and create 3 totally original builds. But more importantly, I will guide you through finishing 3 creative builds of your own. And this is an online class, so you can take it from anywhere and work it around your schedule, but it's fully immersive and intensive. So whether you're a complete beginner or an experienced engineer, this course has been designed to meet you where you're at and then level up your skills. And the engineering process I will teach you is the exact same one I used at NASA and at Apple and for all of my videos. Just go to monthly.com/MarkGrover or use the link in the video description to check it out and then enroll in this month-long learning experience with me. I love ice cream. It's just objectively the best food that there is. But there's 2 problems with that. Number 1, I have no impulse control to keep me from eating this entire tub in a single day. And number 2, other people in my house also love it. So we are competing over a scarce resource. So I came up with an invention to protect the ice cream from my poor impulse control and other people in my house at the exact same time. And here it is. Do you see it? Of course you don't, because that's the first line of defense in action. It's camouflaged in this bag of frozen vegetables. But even if someone in my house were to accidentally stumble upon this bag of vegetables, this is what they'd find. It's impossible for even the world's strongest person to remove this lid, because it's clamped on with a 1/4 ton of force, and yet there are no buttons, latches, or locks. And it works because the lid and the base are made from different metals. So you place the carton right in the base, and then the lid just snugly slides on at room temperature. But when I put it in the freezer, the anodized aluminum lid shrinks 50% more than the stainless steel base does, essentially fusing them together. The trick then is to just run room temperature water over the lid, because when you increase their temperatures, aluminum also grows 50% more than steel. And this solves my impulse control issues, because it makes me wait at least 30 seconds to think if I should really eat this ice cream. And in this case, yep, I definitely should. This idea just occurred to me one day, so I made it. And that's the thing I love about being an engineer. If you have an idea about a thing, and that thing doesn't exist, you can just will it into existence.
2, 1.
This is me reclaiming my title for the world's largest and tallest elephant toothpaste experiment. And this is a totally different kind of reaction we discovered in all our experimentation called Devil's Toothpaste, which is insanely reactive and super dangerous. I'll explain why in a minute, but for now, here's it. And if you look closely in both shots, I'm not holding the trigger. This kid is. In fact, that kid was the whole reason we were there at all, because this was a culmination of 8 months of planning to throw him the most epic birthday party ever. And all of this started inadvertently from a single surprise phone call.
How are things, man?
They just got better.
This is Fletcher. And this is also Fletcher a year before this call. But unbeknownst to everyone at the time, also pictured here under all that amazing hair was a fast-growing brain tumor. They eventually realized something was wrong and discovered it was a dangerous form of brain cancer so rare he was only the 6th kid ever known to have had it. So his family uprooted their lives for a year and moved almost 1,000 miles to be closer to St. Jude, where they removed the tumor and would try and fix his brain. In fact, our call was the night before he was going back in for another brutal week of chemo. He's such a funny kid, and I was so inspired by his hopeful attitude that after talking for an hour, I secretly vowed that if he made it to 13 years old, I would fly him and his family out and surprise him with just the dopest birthday party ever. And not long after, I texted Fletcher this picture. So he knew he had closely matching hairstyles, but what he didn't know is that plans were already underway for him and I to take back the record for the world's largest elephant toothpaste. And as a quick refresher, last summer, my buddy Science Bob and I set the world record for elephant toothpaste by filling up an empty swimming pool. I wanted to be able to swim in the foam afterwards, so we figured out how to use yeast as the catalyst, which is in fact safer, but it doesn't react very fast. And our video seemed to inspire some folks, because 2 months later, this happened with David Wilbert's backyard, where they didn't bother with yeast and just took the normal reaction and scaled it up a bunch. But then a few weeks later, these guys in Brazil did the largest experiment yet, and they are the current Guinness World Record holders. And so even though Fletcher's birthday was still 8 months out, we started our testing right away, because I knew blasting a world record amount of foam straight up into the sky wasn't as easy as it might sound. And the part that concerned me the most was picking the right nozzle size. And here's what I mean. These 3 containers are identical except for the diameter of their outlets. If that diameter is too large, it looks kind of cool, but it doesn't really go that high. Too small, and it will go high, but it just looks like confetti and doesn't look that impressive. But for every container, there is a Goldilocks-sized diameter opening that gives you that cool laminar looking flow while still going pretty high. And you might think, well, why don't you just take a typical flask that works so well and just scale all the dimensions up? And we tried that on our first 5-foot scale test. And just as I feared, it went all confetti on us. And the problem is illustrated here. If you want to scale up and double all the dimensions of the block, you get this. That's perfect. All these dimensions increased exactly by a factor of 2. But wait a sec, the volume increased by a factor of 8. This is called the squared cube law, and its effects are everywhere in nature, such as putting a hard limit on just how big land animals can be. Because how heavy you are is a function of your volume, but the strength of your muscles and bones is a function of their cross-sectional area. So since animals evolved to get heavier by the power of 3, but stronger by only the power of 2, at some point it's just too much. So on the next 5-foot test, we increased the top diameter by a mere 3.5 inches. But now the pendulum swung too far the other way, because while the column looked smooth, it didn't really go that high. And so finally for the third test, we let the pendulum swing back just a tad and shave down that diameter by just over an inch to try and dial in that Goldilocks outlet size. And sure enough, the column went really high and looked great. But this test uncovered another issue. With such a high volume of foam, the pressure was creating some really high forces in the flask. I mean, that's a lot of damage, which, quite frankly, left us with only one option. And so with the power of flex tape, we scaled things up even further to a 10-foot test and did our best to interpolate that Goldilocks outlet size. So once again, the outlet size worked great, but our joint construction wasn't prepared for the further scaled up forces. In fact, score a fat W for the flex tape, where you could see it single-handedly held the thing together, even as the screws and wood busted through. And we were realizing we just had to make the structure so over-engineered and indestructible, so the only option for the foam to escape the high pressure would be going out the top. And so while that wasn't a perfect result, I felt like we learned enough from all of our failures to design it strong enough for the final 20-foot world record version. In the end, we ran over 150 tests, not only to determine the right scaled up flask dimensions, but things like, does neck length have an effect? What happens if you vary the soap amounts? What effect do different brands of food coloring have? All of these tests were really insightful, but perhaps the most interesting finding was stumbling upon something I've affectionately named Devil's Toothpaste. Now you might be thinking, devil's toothpaste, that seems a bit extreme, Mark, but allow me to demonstrate. This is a shoebox full of the standard formula of hydrogen peroxide, sodium iodide, and soap that pretty much everyone uses to make elephant toothpaste. Now here's the same volume of reactants, only this time using devil's toothpaste. Now see if you can spot the difference in real time. Not only is it hyperreactive, but the reaction is much hotter, so you get these really cool bubble formations. Here's one more. Once again, this is normal elephant's toothpaste in an Erlenmeyer flask. No big deal, people have been doing this for years. But once again, here's the same volume of reactants, now only with devil's toothpaste. Now, given how explosive this is, this may be irresponsible of me, but while we watch the replay, I'll tell you exactly how to make it. You start with 2016. Once that mixes, you're gonna throw Winfrey. A torch on the leftover rabbit fur, and you're good to go. And so by taking some rigorous safety precautions, we also intended to set the first and therefore only world record for the world's largest devil's toothpaste experiment by filling 6 55-gallon drums with 400 times the amount that broke the flask here. And so after 150 tests and 8 months of work, feeling much more confident about our build plans and chemistry, we packed everything up and made our way to the small farming town of Gridley, California. We chose Gridley because our family friend Dale graciously agreed to let us use his land, which is full of hundreds of acres of walnut trees. No, don't even think about it, Fat Gus. He also had a great backyard we could make use of. And so with only 4 days left till Fletcher was flying out for the party, we got to work on a 20-second build montage. And it took 4 consecutive 14-hour back-breaking days of labor in the hot sun, because with so much time to plan the most epic birthday party ever, I just kept adding more and more ideas to the list we would need to pull off. So in addition to building the indestructible 20-foot flask and the devil's toothpaste dumping mechanism, we also needed to make a methane bubble fountain, a 3D bubble printer, a fire tornado, a slip and slide into a pool, and an epic bubble pit. And even though I brought my buddies, it was cool to see this turn into a modern-day small-town USA barn racing. If we needed extra hands or a piece of equipment, 10 neighbors were there like instantly to help us out. And so the morning of the big day, there was still a lot of last-minute scrambling, but things were looking pretty good.
I'm seriously so nervous right now. I love pranks, and a surprise is like the most wholesome type of prank, so I haven't been able to sleep for days just thinking about this, like every last detail to how this will go down.
And so with only 1 hour left, we did one final test run on everything. First, the devil's toothpaste, a perfecto, and then the 20-foot flask. For the real reaction, the peroxide would fill the whole bottom pool where John was standing, and then the troughs would dump over all the catalyst at once, sort of like this. And I should mention, Guinness only lets you choose one world record category per event, so we were going for the tallest, but when we did the math to scale up the flask to the arbitrary height I picked of 20 feet, and this is a true story, it was exactly 1 gallon less than the folks in Brazil who set the world record for the largest. And so don't mind me while I set these 2-gallon containers right here. And so as people started gathering for the surprise, I hit the hardened streets of Gridley, California to look for some kind of last-minute disguise. And so after a bit of a warm-up, because these are all moves I can for sure do, and that's definitely me in the costume, the moment I had spent the last 8 months planning for had finally arrived. And the cover story for the kids is they were coming to tour a walnut farm of a distant relative. And to provide a good juxtaposition, I wanted him to feel as awkward as possible for this part. And then when we gathered for the picture, I snuck up right behind him and took off my mask.
Alright, cool. What do you guys want to do next? What do we do?
Oh, Sister Isla also had no idea any of this was going to happen.
What up, buddy? How are you? Get in here. I'm the boy. What's up, dude? But I'm not making videos. I'm the Gridley mascot.
because, you know, I'm a busy guy.
I could do it, like 15 minutes. You guys want to go for a racer ride? Is that cool? Get the whole crew, your sister. I had about like half an hour, so it's good to meet you in real life. Don't tell Mom!
Not a word.
Not a word, okay. Watch out for walnuts.
That's a fruit.
Oh, a single walnut grows in one of these, which is crazy to me. All of those are just a single walnut.
As we pulled up the driveway, I stopped the dune buggy in a precisely predetermined location where the view of the 20-foot flask was obscured by the truck.
I heard it was your birthday, so I got you something simple.
Well, tomorrow's my real birthday.
Oh yeah, tomorrow. I'm one day off. So Fletch, I gotta come clean, buddy. You and I today are gonna set a Guinness World Record for the world's tallest elephant toothpaste.
What? Are you kidding me?
You are currently in a YouTube video. I want you to wave your 20 million of your newest friends. We're gonna put all the elephant toothpaste in the and just blast it in the air.
Yeah, I got minutes.
I actually fully cleared my schedule.
With the surprise fully and successfully executed, my heart rate finally lowered a bit, and I gave him a preview of all the cool stuff we had lined up for the party. Then we headed to the backyard where we saw the setup and his mom. Because at this point it had sunk in that there would be no walnut farm tour, and that her and I had been conspiring for months. For now, though, it was time to party. Or the Bubble Pit, we headed across the street to check out the world's first and therefore largest Devil's Toothpaste experiment. Up with the slow-mo shot. This shot was from a GoPro on rails, and we weren't quite fast enough with the pole. And for some reason I found this like Wall-E level pathetically sad. You can see even in slow-mo, the reaction happens so incredibly fast. And I apologize for the gratuitous amount of slow-mo, but this has got to be the coolest thing I've ever filmed. Rainbow Play-Doh extrusion paint. cupcakes while the crew started prepping for the big world record finale. And in the vein of cool stuff I would need to have at my birthday party if I was turning 13 years old, I of course had to bust out the Elon Musk flamethrower to light some fire bubbles. And finally it was back to the front yard to top things off with the most amazing bubble pit ever. It was like belly flopping on a cloud. It was taking way longer to fill up than we had calculated. So it was all hands on deck to try and pull this off before the sun went down. Oh, and this is cool. The bubble pit was dual purpose because once emptied, it served as the bunker to give a completely safe front row seat to whatever was about to happen. And so with the flats really close to being filled, Fletcher asked to take a very quick last minute ride in the Tesla because he'd never been in one.
I know.
This one.
This is in like every video.
You guys are in a Mark Rober video.
Per the request, I gave them a quick ride. And so with the official measurement drone in the air, our timing was perfect because we made it back just as they were sealing up the door for the big moment.
Okay, Fletcher, I'm handing this to you officially. To think, you should have been touring a walnut farm right now.
And so after 8 months of planning and so much work by so many people, the coolest birthday present I've ever given anybody came down to this moment.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Truck, it's like buried next to it.
with a perfectly selected outlet diameter. That is, until things got chaotic once the pressure changed drastically from the big rupture. We literally made a rocket ship. I mean, fundamentally, this is how rockets propel themselves. An actual failure mode wasn't really a floor strength issue as much as it was a stiffness issue. I knew our structure weighed over a ton, so I just didn't consider that the reaction could take the whole thing 5 feet into the freaking air. And at NASA, that's what we refer to as a critical oversight. But honestly, this result was way more spectacular, plus it leaves room for improvement. And I should also note, even with all that, we still crushed the previous world record by more than double. And so as the sun went down, Science Bob lit up the fire tornado as a fitting end to the party. I also told Fletcher there was one more thing, which is that with a little help from Dale, he could use some heavy equipment to destroy our beautiful creation. And so with that, the party was all over. As they drove away, I thought about everything they've been through for the past year, and all the people that came together from all across the country to donate their time and energy for a kid they've never even met. And I might not vote the exact same as all of them, but for like 5 inspiring days, none of that stuff matter. Whenever I find myself short on hope, I find it helps to put my phone down and choose to see the good parts in my fellow humans and be one of the good parts for my fellow humans to see. And so to Fletcher, thank you for being such a good example of holding on to hope amidst really lame circumstances. Happy birthday, buddy, and congrats on your new world record. This is a specialized human-shaped shark cage I designed. And this is me in the middle of a shark feeding frenzy in that cage, which as it happens, doesn't actually keep the sharks out.
They're in the freaking cage!
But to understand how I ended up in the middle of the Bahamas with buckets of blood, surrounded by a butt ton of sharks, we've got to go back exactly 1 year. Because that's when I ran a test to see what really happens if sharks smell a drop of human blood in the water. For that experiment, I pumped out 15 drops of human blood per minute for an hour, pretty close to a bunch of sharks that in the end just weren't really that interesting. So this busted the myth from the movies that sharks are these ruthless killers that just go crazy if they smell a drop of your blood from a mile away. But those results made me really curious if the sharks would react differently to fish blood versus human blood. And if they did go crazy for fish blood, could I use that to put myself right at the center of a shark feeding frenzy? And so to satiate my curiosity, my friends at Discovery helped me make my way back to the Bahamas as part of Shark Week this year. But this time, I wouldn't be alone.
What up, bro?
Oh, wow. First jumped in on this?
What's up, y'all?
Good, man. I think we'll have a little bit of time for Rover, a little bit of fun with Dean Perfect, and a little bit of me. All right, y'all ready to do this?
Ready, sir.
All right. Chop, let's get to it, fellas.
Not let you down. Looking forward to it. You see ya.
I've got this idea for a bill to just really get me in close with the sharks. Last year.
Rover. That was recently.
No. Yeah, of course.
All right, so you guys ready? Let's get to it.
Let's do this.
Looking forward to it. See ya.
And so in the direction of Shaq Diesel, it was time to head to the Bahamas. All that was left was to swab my nose to prove to the Bahamian government that I didn't have coronavirus. The only problem was, my test came back positive. And this just made me really sad, because not only was I going to miss out on this epic adventure, but as far as I was concerned, I was basically just waiting to die. And I had to interact with my family through the glass door to the backyard using a laser pointer, and not even Fat Gus would get within 6 feet of me. Now I'm happy to say I eventually beat the Rona and tested negative, but the only problem now is I missed my chance because they were no longer accepting any commercial flights from America, because we're #1, baby. So I was once again incredibly sad, until I found a loophole. Because while you couldn't go to the Bahamas on a public commercial flight, there were no rules against going to the Bahamas on a private jet. And since this was the first and last time I would ever have my own personal G6, I acted like I'd been here before, like the true professional I am. I mean, mostly. I should mention, flying across country on your own plane isn't the most ecologically responsible choice. So while I was in the air, I utilized this website called HumeTrees.org, you might have heard of it, to plant enough trees to suck up the carbon not only for my flight, but the next 100 flights this plane would take. In the end, it's important you guys know I'm still super grounded, and I didn't let the experience change me one bit. And so now that I was in the Bahamas, the first thing I did was check in with my marine biologist, shark diving expert buddy Luke Tipple, because we need to figure out how to somehow get blood out of a fish. This is how we do it. The first thought is like, can you just freaking blood a fish?
Give it a shot.
Dude, you've clearly never seen Will of Blood. There's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to this. Ready? like the number 32 from Jamba Juice. We tried a variety of other techniques and eventually started hitting our stride and the bucket started filling up. If I could smell this, that looks pretty delicious.
The good thing about Mark is it's a stupid idea, but he's not making other people do it.
I respect that about me too.
Yeah.
I also learned this is what fish gills look like on the inside. They're like pages in a book to increase the surface area, which maximizes the oxygen they can pull out of the water. So we've taken about 20 fish, with a little bit of help from the blender, turn them into this. Mama shark, I'm like, that's freaking delicious. Now that we had 5 gallons of mouth-watering fish blood smoothie, it was time to get some answers. We already know that sharks don't necessarily go nuts in the presence of a little bit of human blood, but would they go nuts in the presence of a little bit of fish blood? And as a firm believer in the scientific method, it was time to test our hypothesis by heading out to sea. Once we were far enough from land, Luke and I came up with the game plan for the experiment. Basically, we would have 2 surfboards in the water. One would have a 5-gallon bucket of our fish blood smoothie, and then another would have 5 gallons of human blood. We would also have a third board that just had seawater as a control to make sure the sharks weren't just interested in the surfboards. Then we would pump out the contents of each of the buckets over the course of an hour and observe how many sharks approached each board. Then once we know which one they prefer after this, we'll use that tomorrow in the cage just to create the most wild feeding.
Which sounds super fun to me.
Because you're not in the cage. And so with the plan in place, all that was left to do was put the boards together and get them out with the sharks. To last year's test was that the boards might have been too close to the boat. So it's possible some of the sharks actually smelled the blood but didn't investigate it because they were just waiting for a handout from the boat. So this time we basically placed the boards in the middle of the frickin' ocean, super far away from the boat so it would be a confounding variable. Oh, and I should also mention we ended up using cow's blood because it's really hard to legally find 5 gallons of human blood. And after talking with a couple shark scientists, they've shown experimentally that all mammal blood essentially smells the same to sharks. So it wouldn't affect the results to use cow blood in place of human blood. So now that all 3 boards were in place, we double-checked to ensure each was anchored down to the ocean floor. Then I just had to start all 3 custom-built pumps using our custom-built remote trigger, which is the exact moment I realized it must have got busted while being shipped out here because it wasn't sending a signal, which sucks because there's absolutely no way to run the pumps manually. Luckily, a trick I learned while working at NASA is you always build redundancy into your systems, just in case. So we have it in the code that if no remote start signal is received after an hour, each of the pumps will just automatically start up on their own. It's just a feature we never had time to test, so we just have to firmly cross our fingers and hope for the best. I'm hopeful. We've had to overcome a lot to get here for this video. What's one more little challenge? And at exactly 1 hour, right on cue, the backup code kicked in and saved our whole experiment. With blood now officially in the water, we put the drone into the air and started our observations. And things were pretty quiet for about the first 20 minutes, but then we had our first hit on the mammal blood board. Shark? Shark, baby!
Oh, yeah.
But pretty soon thereafter, things started heating up for the fish blood smoothie board.
Oh my gosh. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sharks around the fish smoothie board.
And then 10 minutes later, things were only more intense. Here you can see the difference in activity between the 3 boards. And while you're running an experiment and still collecting data, you really need to keep an open mind. But given what we were seeing, it was getting pretty difficult to remain objective. And so after an hour, we called the experiment and went inside to officially tally up the results using the drone footage. And it turns out, the mammal blood board board was approached 8 times, the seawater control board was at 0, and the fish blood board had a whopping 134 approaches from a shark.
Definitely seems like this movie's where it's at. It's pretty obvious. Massive blob of sharks, no sharks. I think that's the go for maximum feeding frenzy.
Now we had a game plan for my feeding frenzy cage the next day. We headed back to shore and to our hotel to get some rest for what was to come. Oh, and fun side note, if the only way to get to a vacation destination is by private jet, it really cuts down on the crowds. We literally had this whole resort to ourselves. Well, almost to ourselves. There were like 40 cats who apparently must also fly private. We woke up bright and early the next morning feeling refreshed and headed right back out to sea where Luke and I prepared some massive bags of fish blood smoothie for me to burst open once I went down.
It just seemed like a cool idea to make a cage to get in the middle of a feeding frenzy until this moment. Now that they're making me put on fucking chainmail, it makes me reconsider my life choices. If something terrible happens, Shaq, you gotta take care of my family. This is all your fault. Let's go.
And after several months of prep, unfortunately, it was time for me to get in. It also just so happens I might have forgot to mention this part to my wife. She might have been under the impression I was just doing another experiment with surfboards and pumps. Sorry, sweetie. Not only was I wearing 10 pounds of steel chain gun for protection, but my vest is also filled with 20 pounds of lead weights. That means I sank pretty fast, but also that the buoyancy to weight ratios were perfect for giving me practice for walking on the moon. Because like many of you, I would definitely go to space in my lifetime. Again, just haven't mentioned that quite yet. I just had to pump these stupid things. Okay. Here I go. Oh, this is crazy. What am I doing?
Okay, the base is deployed.
I gotta get this stuff out of here.
And here they go.
So they left me no choice but to defend my honor.
Yeah, get out of my cage! Get out of my cage! I'm gonna kill you, Shaq! Get the heck out!
We knew all along that the most dangerous part would be when I exited the cage, because they'd still be agitated and they'd be stoked to finally have access to the soft, chewy center. So the plan was for one of the other divers to distract them way off to the side with the bait box, and then I would get out as silently as possible so they wouldn't notice me. should tell Shaq he can do his own stunts from now on. The main takeaway for me for this experience is that sharks have been on this planet longer than the dinosaurs or even trees have. So they've had 400 million years of evolution to develop these instincts that are rewarded for smelling fish blood. Humans and cows would be an extremely rare delicacy, so it makes sense that it's not just hardwired into their brains. And so with all my limbs intact and with my curiosity fully satiated, I will leave you with these profound words that in my defense might have been the drama of me speaking.
As humans, we're always the predator and not really ever the prey. But this gave me a sense of what it's like to be a tuna fish.
This is a bird feeder, and everything to my left is my attempt at making it squirrel proof. If they want the bird seed, they will first need to pass through what is basically an 8-part Ninja Warrior obstacle course for squirrels. This course is extremely challenging. It is not for the timid of heart. But out of the gate, I will admit that in hindsight, that I completely underestimated my adversary. Now, if you're wondering why I would go through all this trouble, we need to go back 8 weeks ago when I found myself stuck at home and very bored. So I installed a bird feeder and decided to become a bird watcher. And it was just so lovely. Until they showed up. Now luckily my bird feeder had a wire cage around it, big enough for the birds to slip inside, but small enough to prevent the squirrels from getting the food. And that worked really well until right here. For me, this was like the moment in Jurassic Park when they realized the velociraptors can open door handles. And once the door was open, it was clear this wasn't their first rodeo. They basically cleared this whole tube of birdseed by the end of the day. Mind you, this bird feeder was advertised as being squirrel-proof, so I bought another squirrel-proof bird feeder to replace it. It's got this outer cage suspended by some springs, and so if a bird comes and lands here, it doesn't weigh that much, and it has access to the seeds. However, if a squirrel comes, they'll grab onto this cage, its weight will force the springs down, thereby preventing access to the seeds. I have no idea how the squirrels could possibly outsmart this, but let's see. And this one worked exactly as intended. You can see the birds love it, but when the squirrel comes along, the cage shifts down and now all the seed ports are covered up. Every time they tried, it was the same results. However, the next morning, this guy manages to unclip the springs that hold the cage up, which means the cage stays in the lowered position where it blocks all the seed openings. Problem with that is now they can get to the lid. But this bird feeder lid doesn't hinge open to give direct access, so he goes with a different tactic, where he now has access to all the birdseed he wants. And so I decided I would try one more bird feeder design. Okay. Wow. It almost feels intentional at this point. This one's supposed to work well because it's got this baffle, which is supposed to keep the squirrels from just coming straight down and getting to the seeds. And more importantly, there's no way for them to rip this off. We'll see. This one debuted to similar results. As he hangs by a few toes, this is when I really started to gain appreciation for what they were capable of. It definitely seemed like this bird feeder was their favorite. Okay. Yeah, they're flexing on me for sure. And at this point, a plan was forming in my head, but just to be thorough, I moved the post away from the fence, and I can't say I was surprised when they just climbed it. Nor was I surprised to see they could shimmy up and down a small metal pole, or even a large one for that matter. And whether they could climb a certain pole material was a moot point anyways because of this. Look at this! These guys are basically freaking rodent-sized Simone Biles. And on some level, this is what it felt like when someone stole a package from my porch that didn't belong to them. And I harnessed that indignation, spending a year designing the Glitter Bomb bait package. Hello. Complete with special fragrances. If I could design a package to deter thieves, could I design a bird feeder to deter squirrels? And so after a couple weeks of brainstorming, designing, and building with my buddy John, we put it all together in this 20-second build montage. Here are the basic elements. For starters, here's where I've placed their favorite bird feeder, at the end of the course. And to sweeten the deal, right below that, there's a trap door. And if they step here, it releases a butt ton of walnuts and unfurls some celebratory games. Why walnuts? I'm glad you asked. I'm using walnuts because over the course of a week, I put out a buffet of 7 different nuts and seeds. And all 4 times I repeated the experiment, walnuts were always the one they ate first. What's great about placing this here is it levels the playing field, as the birds can fly up and get as much food as they want anytime they need it. The squirrels, however, will have to work for it, because the only way to make it to this platform is if they work their way through my 8-part Ninja Warrior obstacle course, which all starts right here. This is the only platform on the course that has a pole that isn't covered in slippery stuff, which means this is where they have to climb up to enter the course. If they try and get up any other way, they can't keep a good grip and they just slide back down. So the first challenge is the Bridge of Instability. Now this may look easy, but the trick is it attaches at a single point on each end. And from a physics standpoint, that makes it no different than trying to crawl across a tightrope. It's the same deceptive principle with that one carnival game that's so impossible. I broke it down in another video where I used physics to show which carnival games were basically scams and the science on how to beat them. Next up, the Maze of 1,000 Corridors. This one's a bit more cerebral, but if they make it through that, it will bring them to the Pitchfork Tumblers, which are inspired by the show Wipeout. But unlike Wipeout, I should point out that all these contraptions are squirrel friendly, and even with a little back force, they will break away and stop spinning. Now if they can make it past the Pitchfork Tumblers of Treachery, they come to one of my personal favorites, the Home Wrecker. I put her into Temple School to lose focus on the real prize at the end of the course. Because this pad has a pressure sensor underneath it, and it connects to a microcontroller that has a relay that connects to a solenoid that connects to a pneumatic piston that connects back to this platform with the pressure sensor. And so if they stand here for more than 3 seconds, they've got to start the course all over again. Next up is the Slinky Bridge of Deception. I've suspended a juicy walnut right in the middle, but there's no way this bridge will support their weight, so it'll be interesting to see how they approach it. The 6th challenge is called the Tourist Trap. It's actually a bit of a reward for making it this far. If the squirrel sticks their head through this board my wife painted, it's just a photo op they can hang on the wall of their tiny squirrels. I'll place a walnut here as an incentive for them not to miss this unique opportunity. The penultimate challenge are the quad steps of Great Elevation. This is taken straight from Ninja Warrior, and this is super tricky because these pads are all totally smooth and placed at a 45-degree incline. And now for the last challenge. At this point, they are a mere few feet away from their ultimate goal, but if they're not careful, they'll have to deal with the Orbital Assist Platform, aka the final countdown, aka it's not a catapult, it's a squirrelapult. Which means they now have to go back and start all the way over from the beginning. Now if they want to avoid that fate, they just need to stand on this pad for less than 3 seconds. But once again, I've placed a diversion here. This one projects an optical illusion of anything you place at the bottom of this dish. It's actually super trippy and looks even more impressive in real life because the projected image is 3D. They're like $9 on Amazon, and I put a link that explains the juicy physics of how they work in the video description. Now with regards to squirrel safety, I know I seem to have this reputation of improvised high-speed projectiles, and so this one might worry a few animal lovers out there, including my wife. We have 5 pets and 1 child, and the child was the only one I had to save. So rest assured, I can adjust the pressure on the piston, and we'll be staying way below any launch force that could hurt any of our adorable backyard contestants. And so finally, after making it through all that, we're back here at the world's most satisfying bird feeder. As far as I'm concerned, if they make it here, they've earned the right to gorge next to the birds for as long as they want. And so after nearly a month of prep work, the course was officially open for business. They could smell the walnuts at the final station, and you could see the gears turning because right above that was their favorite bird feeder. And so before long, we had our first contender. Exactly go as planned, so Rick decides to regroup. Speaking of which, that's Rick. There are a total of 4 competitors that will be attempting the course. First up is Rick, and he weighs 500 grams. I know this because he's actually standing on a custom-made scale. Rick is very clever, as you'll see here in a minute, but he also gets spooked easily. Next up is Marty. He's basically indistinguishable from Rick. Rick and Marty are inseparable and pretty much spend all their time together as a pair. Our third contender is Frank, also coming in around 500 grams. He's very gutsy. He's also kind of dumb. Finally, we've got my personal favorite, Fat Gus. He's just really charming and will strike a pose if he sees a camera. He also really likes to eat, and he tips the scales at an impressive 800 grams. While most of the squirrels are kind of particular before making a selection and then gracefully leaping away, Fat Gus just goes for it, hands free. Just makes himself real comfortable. Here he is laying out with a light snack from the bird feeder. I mean, you can't fault the guy for just clearly appreciating a good meal. So now that you know our 4 contenders, let's get back to Rick. So he hops back on, and he's actually doing better than his first attempt. Just barely. This is the best because he's like, okay, I got this. Never mind. Well, maybe I definitely don't. And this was the exact moment I realized I just might be outmatched here. Marty was watching Rick, and after a quick dip of his toes in the water, adopts his strategy right out of the gate. Oof, so close. But an excellent recovery. And Fat Gus, perhaps predictably, comes up a little short. Which brings us to the Maze of 1,000 Corridors, which, to be honest, they mastered this one pretty quickly. Here's a solid run from Fat Gus. And now for the Pitchfork Tumblers of Treachery. Marty was like, yeah, that's a hard pass. Fat Gus is just like, abort! Frank is just like, nope. Then he's like, wait a second. Still nope. Then Marty flies in real hot over the top. He didn't make it through, but that's partial credit as far as I'm concerned. And then here's Fat Gus with my favorite attempt by far. And then Frank shows no fear, which helps him pull off this near flawless run. And finally, Smart Rick surgically weaves his way through, essentially untouched. And I should mention, the squirrels were most active from 6 to 10 a.m. So every morning, I've been getting up before the sunrise to start filming from in my house like one of those camouflage nature photographers. Only like a suburbanized version. I've also had a handful of streaming cameras rolling 24/7, which has allowed me to make such discoveries as, we have the world's worst guard dog. Thanks for the help, pal. Now back to the home wrecker. You can see Rick is instinctively suspicious of this gold digger, and only for a brief moment puts his full weight on the platform. I told you he was smart. His buddy Marty, on the other hand, she is a cruel mistress. And because I know my wife is going to ask me, no, this will not hurt the squirrel for 2 reasons. Number 1, they are amazing like cats and always land on their feet. And 2, they themselves were jumping from this height all the time, and in some cases, much higher. In fact, squirrels are one of the few mammals that can survive a fall from any height because they make their terminal velocity so low. You can see it right here. They make their body as flat as possible, then put their tail back to increase drag. They basically become their own parachute, and then right before they land, they pull in and fully extend their arms and legs to act as shock-absorbing landing gear. This is so cool. Now back to the course where even Smart Rick eventually lets his guard down, which is exactly when she strikes. But just like all the other obstacles so far, after a day or 2, they've mastered it. In this case, even disregarding her offering of a fresh walnut. Now onto the Slinky Bridge of Deception, and this was the sleeper obstacle in my book. That is not a large gap, which they can easily jump, but having the Slinky there just threw them off somehow. You can see how much Frank is struggling here, and he's the brave one. And Rick only jumps when Marty shows up for emotional support. But like all the obstacles so far, after a day or 2, they've mastered it. Now onto our third to last obstacle, the tourist trap. And this one was just a freaking delight. A little peanut butter really did the trick here. Now here comes Fat Gus, and I mean, how Fat Gus is this? He sees the camera and he's like, paint me like one of your French squirrels. Yeah? No? No takers? Here's another classic Gus where he looks at the camera. Wait a second. Play that back. And freeze. Zoom. Enhance. Well, turns out Fat Gus is not a dude. And he's pregnant. Which meant I was suddenly feeling real uncomfortable about of a pivot to smooth things over, we soldiered on to the quad steps of great elevation. Frank comes in rather confident, almost to his demise, but he pulls off the smooth recovery. So after not much time at all, they were looking pretty good here. In fact, one morning I noticed Marty totally skipped the last step altogether, which I took as a challenge, and so I removed the middle step to see what they would do. And who else but Fantastic Gus? Let's slow that down a bit. They're such amazing jumpers, so I suppose the quick mastery here wasn't a surprise. I mean, this right here is probably a 10-foot jump. And here's some classic brave but dumb Frank. He'd already entered the course normally and made it to the home wrecker at least a dozen times by this point. And yet for some reason, he decides his 12-foot jump is his best course of action. And Smart Rick was the first one to enter the course, so in the end, after about a week of effort, it was fitting he was the one to make it to the jackpot first. And he's so stoked, he apparently wants to run the whole course in reverse. In hindsight, we probably should have made the jackpot a little quieter. Here's Marty, as always, not far behind. He's also a bit flighty, as you know, which worked against him here because down below Fantastic Gus, ever the opportunist, comes through with a real stroke of brilliance. But pretty soon Marty comes back like, I'm the one who kind of. And then Fantastic Gus is like, you snoozy loose sucker. And might I just say, Fantastic Gus, when you sit like that, you don't look an ounce over 700 grams. Eventually they learned that sound was a good thing, and they quickly returned for their reward before Fantastic Gus got any ideas. So here's a single camera shot of a full run, and by the end, all of them could do the full course in less than 40 seconds. And while we're watching, you might be wondering what happened to the squirrel plane. Unfortunately, they didn't really fall for my illusion much, but I'm about to show you 2 times they did. And as a promise to my wife, I turned the pressure to only 40% full power, so the acceleration the squirrel would feel is about half a G, which is 10 times less than typical roller coaster. Additionally, I never turned on either the home wrecker trapdoor or the launch platform when I wasn't actively watching from inside my house where I had a manual override button. Because as safe as it was, something about watching Fantastic Gus just didn't feel right. Now what you're about to see is going to look pretty chaotic, but when we check the slow-mo, amazingly, I'll show you how the squirrel is totally in control pretty much the whole time. Alright, now here's a second angle. Also, even if you don't trust my calculations, I can assure you that the squirrels did not care. In both launch cases, they were back up on the course in like 5 minutes. Here's the slow-mo, and see if you can spot the 2 critical things he does to make sure he lands feet down. Did you catch it? The first critical moment is right here. He's already done the predictive math, and he's locked his head on the spot where he plans to land. And now his head will not lose that lock the whole way down. What's crazy is the time it takes him to do all the predictive math to know exactly where he will land and to lock his head is 300 milliseconds. That's exactly this long, literally less than the blink of an eye. That blows my mind, but if you think about it, it makes sense these reactions would have evolved to be razor sharp if you live your life in the trees, constantly making split-second decisions. And besides picking a landing spot with his head, the second trick is with his arms. When he wants to keep his upper body from rotating, he has his arms out. But the moment he wants to rotate his upper body quickly, he tucks them in. And then when he wants to stop rotating, he extends them out again. This is straight up conservation of angular momentum. It's the same trick ice skaters use. Basically, bring your limbs in if you want to rotate fast, extend them out if you want to slow the rotation. My buddy Destin from Smarter Everyday also made a video analyzing how cats always land on their feet, and they do the exact same 2 tricks. The head target lock and bringing limbs in to rotate and out to stop rotation. Here's the second launch. So this may look like pure luck in real time, but the slow-mo tells a different story. In that amount of time, he's already made a slight lateral push in that direction and locked his landing target with his head. We know from the previous clip he can rotate his body to any orientation, but he doesn't in this case because he sees his small push has already lined up for the perfect landing. That's just so cool. And so after those 2 physics demonstrations, I disabled both the launcher and the home wrecker trapdoor and just let them enjoy the course in peace. As far as I was concerned, they had earned it, plus after spending a month together, we were sort of bros by this point. If they saw me coming out to work, they would certainly jump away, but then they'd just quickly be right back. And sadly, all good things must come to an end, and because I didn't want them to develop an unhealthy dependence on my handouts, after about a week of free reign, I took down the course, but in its place, place, I put up a specialized squirrel-sized picnic table. Every morning, this door opens to release just a few walnuts as a little treat to remind them of our good times together. Although I had to laugh that after all this, somehow I didn't anticipate on day one, Frank would immediately try and figure out and partially succeed in finding a way to beat the system. Like everything else though, they quickly caught on, and now on some mornings I'll catch them just waiting for the daily ration, chilling patiently on the bench seat. That is everyone but Fantastic Gus. Don't ever change, buddy. When I started this 2-month-long adventure trying to bird watch, I had no idea I would enjoy squirrel watching so much more. It's also made me realize that even amongst the structures and pavement and power lines, how interesting nature can be in a single suburban backyard if you just really stop to look. Even the plants are amazing. I had no idea that as vines grow, they spin around looking for something to grab onto. I didn't anticipate the wide variety of animals that use fences as inter-yard highways to get around as a substitute for all the trees that existed before we got here. Even little interactions like this spider extending his life with this very tiny leap into the unknown were just so delightful to see. But of all the animals, I can definitively say now that squirrels are my absolute favorite, and they're certainly a more formidable adversary than porch pirates. They're kind of adorable, incredibly crafty, curious by nature, athletic, and persistent. Turns out squirrels can live to be 20 years old, and so I like to think that someday Fantastic Gus will bring his grand squirrels to the fence and regale them with tales of cowboys and courage and legendary walnut piles. See the germs around us, everyone would be a lot more careful and we'd get sick way less. Unfortunately, that's still not possible, so I did the next best thing by running a day-long experiment in this 3rd grade classroom. I found this powder called Glow Germ, and just like real germs, when it's on your hands, you can't see it. But unlike real germs, if you turn a black light on, it becomes visible. But it transfers to things you've touched, so it provides a really good way to visualize exactly how germs spread. So before the kids arrived, as a control, I went around and noted any pre-existing spots in the room that fluoresced under the black light, and then it was go time. The kids, of course, had no idea what we were doing, and that the teacher had been secretly infected with the glowing powder. So she randomly shook the hands of 3 kids, but didn't touch any of the rest. And so with that, they just went about their normal day. At break, I did choose one random student, and he agreed to letting me put some of the powder on his hands too. And then 2 hours later at lunchtime, I checked the results. Remember, everything you see here started with just the teacher and 1 student having a little of that powder on their hands. And because my flashlight can only illuminate 1 spot at a time, I used Photoshop to better visualize our observations of where germs were left behind, including on the other kids.
You're pretty hot over here. Hope's right here.
And they were actually pretty diligent about washing their hands. This was the desk of the kid that was infected, and what's crazy is that germs could live on a hard surface like this for up to 9 days. And so you can see how important it is to disinfect the things a sick person regularly touches. For example, this was the phone of the teacher in the experiment. Even if you wash your hands really often, if you immediately pull out your phone, a lot of those germs just go right back on your hands. Think about when the last time was that you cleaned your phone. My friend Joanne at the Wall Street Journal recently demonstrated you can clean your phone with an antibacterial wipe every day for at least a year, and it doesn't affect the oleophobic coating at all. And this hopefully gives you a better mental model of why it's really important to wash your hands or use hand sanitizer after being at places like this, or this, or this, or this. Cleaning commonly touched surfaces is important because even if a virus is spread through airborne transmission, those tiny droplets don't stay in the air for long, and they land on surfaces waiting to be touched by our hands. Which raises an important point. The ultimate defense against catching a virus is just don't touch your face. Your eyes, nose, and mouth are like the single weak spot on the Death Star when it comes to viruses. That's the only way they can get in to infect you. But as you can see here, not touching your face is easier said than done. And before you think, yeah, well that's just kids for you, this is what the teacher's face looked like at the end of the day, and she said she tried extra hard to remember not to touch her face. I found this result fascinating, so I put the powder on my own hands for a few hours, and I resisted the urge to touch my face so many times that I fully expected I was going to have a perfectly clean face and the moral high grade. And then this is what I saw. What the heck? I genuinely have no idea when any of this came on. Until I reviewed the footage. Oh, well, there you go. On average, we touch our face 16 times an hour, which is why washing hands is so important. It's impossible to catch a virus directly through your hands. It's as futile as shooting the outer surface of the Death Star. The problem is we use our hands to help the virus out by constantly giving it a ride to our figurative Death Star exhaust ports. Because of this, I ran another experiment with some of the kids after lunch. First, I had them put some lotion on their hands that also glows under a black light. But then I told them I made a mistake and used the wrong lotion. So you guys just go wash your hands real quick. And do a good washing, right? Yeah, do the right washing, okay? I just tricked you guys again. Because what I really wanted to do is test how good you are at washing your hands. So guess what I'm gonna do now? Show me your hands. But before I show you how effective they actually were at washing their hands, here's what you should quickly know about viruses. They are super tiny, but also the most abundant biological entity on the planet. In fact, there's over 10 million viruses in any single drop of seawater. And a lot of types of viruses are beneficial to the planet's ecosystem, and only an insanely tiny percentage affect humans at all. And they're really simple. Viruses are basically a shell with some DNA inside, and they just want to spread and duplicate. That's their only goal. But they're so simple that they need a host to do that. So they reproduce by infecting their host cells, and they trick them to become factories that just make more exact copies of the virus. When you get sick and then cough or sneeze or wipe your nose and then touch a surface, you're putting copies of this virus out to find other hosts and just repeat the process. And so here's what the kids' hands look like after washing their hands. Look at the back. Let me see your fingernails. Oh, no, it hurts. Oh, your mouth. Oh, look at your wrist. Look at your wrist. We all sort of have a habitual way of washing our hands. So once again, I tried this myself using the typical quick way I do it with my muscle. Granted, that's better than nothing, but you can see the difference compared to when I was deliberate and took 20 seconds. Which is why it helps to do things like sing the happy birthday song twice, or you could do what I do and follow Brandon Flowers.
Turning saints to eager eyes.
And then for a final experiment, I wanted to show how dumb handshaking is, so I infected the first kid with the powder and then had them do a handshake chain down the line. The fifth person here still had significant traces on their hand, so I put him at the first and lined 4 more kids up after him, and 3 of their hands glowed. So we got trace germs from the original person all the way down 8 handshakes later. So if you ever meet me in real life, please don't be offended if in lieu of a handshake, I offer you a fist bump and a selfie. In conclusion, what does this all mean with regards to the coronavirus COVID-19? You should be concerned and take this seriously, but regardless of what you see in the coming weeks, there's absolutely no need to panic. As I'm sure you've heard a bunch by now, our goal is to flatten the curve so that reported cases stay just under the capacity of the healthcare system. And social distancing is the best knob that we can turn to affect that. The reason this helps should hopefully make more sense after watching this video, especially for those who have been doubting the science and feeling like this is an extreme reaction. And my take here is I'm a practitioner multiple optics. The upside is while this virus is bad, it could be way worse, and this gives us a chance as a global community to get some systems and methods in place to handle something potentially even more drastic in the future. Also, maybe we'll lead to changing some social norms, like replacing handshakes with fist bumps, or when people are really sick, thinking it's okay to mingle about and go to work. Globally, the normal flu kills anywhere from 1/4 to 500,000 people a year, due in large part to people not practicing good germ hygiene. So if this experience makes people more socially aware of the right precautions to take when they get sick, that will save countless lives for years to come, long after this coronavirus is old news. And make no mistake, this is going to be rough for some more than others, but history has shown that us humans are pretty resilient. These types of things can bring out the worst in us, but they can also bring out the best, most wholesome parts of us, like these Italians practicing their social distancing with an impromptu balcony concert. How we feel about the situation is largely dependent on just which part we choose to focus on. For me, that means being grateful to the heroes in our healthcare system, or the school lunch ladies still providing free lunch for kids who depend on them, or the scientists all over the world who are working tirelessly 7 days a week to create better testing methods and a vaccine. This is going to be a bumpy ride for us, but the economy will eventually bounce back, as it always does, and we'll be better off as a global community for having gone through this. Again, take this seriously, but there's absolutely no need to panic. We totally got this. Oh my gosh. This is a car, and this is a trampoline I designed specifically to be strong enough to try and balance a car, or I guess technically even a boat. Today we'll be conducting some experiments to see what happens when you drop all sorts of stuff on a steel trampoline weighing 2 tons with a mat made out of Kevlar being held by 144 garage door springs. But to understand how we even got to this point, we need to go back 6 months ago when the guys from the How Ridiculous YouTube channel issued a challenge.
We need to get someone to help us engineer just an epic trampoline that can bounce like almost anything big. And I've got Marky Rober on mine.
And what you need to know about them is that besides having funny accents, they do all sorts of crazy things, usually having to do with gravity in some form or another. Their content is always mind-blowing, so you should subscribe to their channel if you somehow haven't already. At any rate, a lot of people seem to think this was a worthy challenge, including myself. And so I got together with my buddy Josh and first brainstormed ideas, then we did some math, then we designed it in CAD and ran it through a dynamic analysis, and eventually settled on a design and sent the build plans to one of their buddies who lives near the tower. And so a few months later, all that was left to do was walk to Australia to meet the guys and check in on the build. Wow! The mat is made from Kevlar, which is the same stuff bulletproof vests are made of. It's so tough, the only thing that could cut it to the right shape was an angle grinder. The garage door springs can support about 450 pounds apiece, and we have 144 of them.
Like a thigh master.
Do they have those in Australia?
And so after prepping at the shop, we made our way to the tower to put it all together. After 7 hours by 1 a.m., it was all put together. So after a very short night's rest and 6 months of planning, the moment had finally arrived. The plan was to do 10 drops total, 5 for their channel and 5 for mine. They started with a single bowling ball, but not to be outdone and to stay true to the tradition of my channel, I chose a single watermelon.
And I gotta drop it, right? You're gonna have to coach me through this.
I'll coach you through it.
Mr. Robo, we are good down here, mate.
Also, it turns out, I don't really love heights.
Oh, this is terrifying. I don't know how you guys do this, man. You ready? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
talking 20 melons?
About 400 pounds. That's a lot.
So they have these tubes here for the kids to drop water balloons down to line up the sand pit. So I'm gonna try and film through it, see what I can see.
And let me just say, it's never cool to waste food. So we ate a good portion of the carnage you're about to witness. Plus, food is never wasted on quality scientific data. Here you can see us standing next to a normal trampoline. And not only do we have twice as many springs as this trampoline, but here's a clean comparison of the two sizes. My primary design goal was to have the tramp survive, but I also didn't want to cheat and use the ground to dissipate any of the energy. The mat had to come back up cleanly without touching anything below. And now for the third drop out of 5, a 66-pound Atlas stone versus a tramp full of water balloons.
In 3, 2, 1.
Just missed the front. That would have made a jarring noise.
But their snakes are smaller than advertised.
Ease it up. Go. Okay. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Whoa!
Go.
Big
Little
yeah.
very like waiting on the car. The big moment had arrived.
Have you decided you're doing the car before the boat? Because it seems to be that's what's happening.
Yeah,
It's going up.
I've made that decision. So in case you know the trampoline kid bus, at least I've got a note video. You gotta look out for number one, you know what I mean? You guys know that. First of all, this is 100 kilograms heavier than we analyzed, and it's like 10 meters higher. I could see it hitting, flipping over and like impaling itself on the fence. Or like hitting, flipping over and landing right on top. That's contact, baby. This is legitimately the most nervous I've ever been in 10 years of making videos.
But before we drop the car, I want to quickly explain why I was so stoked to receive this challenge. Usually for my builds, I have an idea and a design, and while there's always testing, I've never had the need to actually analyze something using a computer. A lot of you guys know I worked for NASA for 9 years, but up until about 6 months ago, I also worked at Apple for 4 years in their special projects group. And in both cases, what we did for this video is the best example of what I did on a daily basis as a mechanical engineer. It's this loop of designing something in CAD and then analyzing it to see if it's good enough, and then you test it to check your answers. Using computers to analyze design allows us to build much more complicated systems than before when computers weren't as powerful. This giant ice block was from one of their drops, and you can see how close our analyzed prediction was to what happened in real life. This means that we can be confident the trampoline would be strong enough before we even built it. And this idea that we can understand and predict the world around us using math and equations is what first made me fall in love with science when I took high school physics. By doing math, I can tell you it will take exactly 0.83 seconds for this egg to hit the ground. There could be opposing philosophies and governments and opinions around the world, and we'll never get agreement on who is most right. But if all the scientists and engineers on the planet were to get together and hang out, they'd all be friends. And they'd be like, yeah, we solved it too. And 0.83 seconds is exactly what we also came up with. And I find that to just kind of be simple and beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
It's finished, wheels down!
How did this out?
We flipping bounced the car!
Oh, yeah.
So Tran, that's the only bit of damage.
This is where the plastic deforms and it won't go back to its original shape. Okay. We got a few of those that did that. Oh, look at this. We just bent this. Oh. That's freaking 1-inch steel, man. The car must have come down and hit right here on the spot. We didn't want the car to hit the fence, because that would be expensive to repair. Inches, centimeters, nay, millimeters of clearance. The perfect landing. Alright, so you thought the car was crazy. Now, we're doing the boat. We're doing the boat. Oh, it's alive!
That's me, that's the richest man in the world, and that's the burger I just made. But there's a catch. The patty in that burger is made from this stuff. And the reason I can eat it raw is it's made entirely from plants. As you guys know, every year I dedicate one of my 12 videos to showcase how clever people are using science and technology to change the world for the better. So for example, 2 years ago was a paper centrifusion microscope that could diagnose malaria for 51 cents versus $10,000 for traditional equipment. And then last year was a magical powder that helps poorer countries turn contaminated muddy water into clear drinking water. That's also when I first met Bill, and he earned my forever respect after I microwaved up some pizza rolls for him, and he ate them like a champ. I've been loosely following the progress of plant-based meat for a couple of years now, and allegedly it looks and tastes like meat, yet it's made from plants. Now, at the top of this video, I feel like I should start with the confession. I eat meat, like, kind of a lot. I've had some form of meat at pretty much every meal since I was a kid. My favorite genre of food is barbecue. And so be that as it may, as a firm believer in the scientific method, I feel like it's time for me just to really buckle down and get to the bottom of this plant-based meat thing. And so today on my quest for answers, I'm looking at 3 main questions. Number 1, how does it taste? And not just that, but how does it look and feel and smell? How successfully does it trick my brain into thinking this is real meat? Number 2, is it good for me? If it does trick my brain, what the heck is in it? Is it just some kind of like lab chemical concoction? And also, how does it compare to like the protein from a real burger? And number 3, is it good for the planet? And on this one, I have a hunch that it is, but is it like, meh, that's a little better? Or is it like 100 times better? Now I should say a big motivation for me, and something I think even my fellow meat eaters could agree on, is that the concept of factory farms isn't great. The whole cows that have never seen a blade of grass thing, and pigs, which by most accounts are smarter than dogs, that live their entire lives indoors on crowded concrete. These factories are efficient. They're optimized for driving down costs, not for animal well-being. And I'm not trying to be a downer, it's just something I don't like to think about when I'm eating my In-N-Out burger or Chick-fil-A. And it's a lame excuse, but I feel like I sort of never have had a good alternative option. I mean, historically, this is a veggie burger, and nothing about this works as a burger. But in recent years, the strategy shifted to target people exactly like me. Basically try and make it as close to real meat as possible, which reduces friction for trying a plant-based option. So their goal is, if I'm going meatless at the summer barbecue, instead of a quinoa salad, I can still enjoy the full experience of a burger with my friends. And so on that note, let's get right into question number 1. Throw this puppy on the grill. Definitely sounds like a burger, and even smells like it. And you can like the fat dripping down, which is causing the flames to come up. So far the experience feels pretty analogous to just grilling a burger. When I lick the fork, it definitely tastes like there was meat on this fork. Alright, this cuts and feels exactly like a real burger. But before I officially taste it, I kind of want to know exactly what's in there. And to do that, I'm going to fly to the 2 companies who are the leader in this space, Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods. At Beyond Meat, the first thing they showed me were the labs where they do all their research. Are these actors or these are real scientists?
These are scientists, yeah.
This feels like Jurassic Park, you know, where they're like giving you the tour and And right out of the gate, they put my mind at ease and showed me a tray of all the main stuff that makes up their burgers. Apparently, they work on not just the taste, but they have teams of researchers working on the texture, color, the smell, the grilling sound, even the same amount of calories and protein as a meat burger. Their goal is to make it as frictionless as possible for people like me to make the switch. So they have these for the color, coconut and sunflower oil for the fat so it sizzles on the grill, potatoes for carbohydrates, and then these for the protein, the majority coming from yellow peas. These burgers are better for you because they have no cholesterol, but they do have saturated fat from the coconut oil, so you shouldn't think of this as healthy as like a plain salad with no dressing. After getting the full tour, I was feeling pretty good, so it was time for the real test in the kitchen. I've intentionally kept my taste buds virgin. Okay, great. I haven't tasted it, and I had opportunities, but like, no, I want to wait. No pressure. But next week, I'm going to meet Bill Gates. Yeah. And I have to cook for him. You're like a professional chef, right? I am. In the next like 20 minutes, you need to transfer all that knowledge from your brain into mine, okay? We started with their Italian sausage, made of course just from plants, and Chef Chris showed me some power moves to impress Bill with on the grill. I'm so scared. Cheers. Okay, cheers. Even putting flavor aside,
I think Bill will be okay with a little bit of a juice.
There's no way I would have guessed I wasn't actually eating real meat. That's pretty good. Cheers. Cheers. That's really good. Need one more taste. It's really good. Thank you. Next up was their burger. which it turns out was equally amazing.
Genuinely, when you can surround it with burger stuff, it's really hard to tell.
They're like a way to tell. My next trip was to Impossible Foods, and they actually let me make a burger myself just from the ingredients in these bowls.
So the first thing that we're gonna do is add the water to the soy protein, and then we're gonna add the potato protein.
Okay.
So the next thing we're gonna put in is our magic ingredient, which do you know what this is?
Bread number 5.
So this is our magic ingredient. It's called heme, which is short for hemoglobin. Heme is responsible for making meat taste like meat. That's found in every living plant and animal. You can get heme from soy plants.
I see.
You don't have to get it from animals.
Next, we added the cellulose-based culinary binder to hold everything together, and then finally, the coconut and sunflower oils.
Have you done any pastry work?
Oh, tons of
Okay, so you're gonna like fold.
All my pastry work's shining through.
You literally just made the Impossible Burger yourself.
Like five little cups.
Five bowls, yeah.
One of them was water.
One of them was water.
So now I think it's time to cook one of these up.
96% of the folks who are ordering our product are self-identified meat eaters.
I'm definitely your target demo. I grew up like if the meal didn't have meat in it, it wasn't a meal.
When it delivers in that same characteristic that meat does, it really proves the point that we're providing a no compromises alternative for those meat eaters out there to make a different choice.
This raised an interesting point. Meat's been cleverly marketed with being a real man because real men need their protein.
That's what a man eats. Made from stuff guys need. Eat like a man.
But the truth is, even meat eaters like me get roughly half their protein a day from plants by eating things that contain some kind of beans, peas, nuts, or whole grains like corn, rice, and oats. In fact, many high-performance athletes are switching to a plant-based diet because studies have shown it can help reduce measures of inflammation by almost 30% in just 3 weeks, and inflammation makes it harder to recover after a workout. So if a plant-based diet is good enough for Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kyrie Irving, Lewis Hamilton, Venus and Serena Williams, Nate Diaz, and a growing butt ton of others, it's probably good enough for me and my weekly rec league soccer game.
You can ultimately utilize this in any way you would use traditional ground beef.
So tacos, lasagna, meatballs.
Name it.
They're so good. This is a plant-based burger, and look at the mess I'm making.
So obviously, I thought their burgers were also really good, but I felt like I wanted a larger sample size before I felt truly confident feeding Bill. So I invited some friends to a local restaurant that serves Impossible Burgers. And the thing is, you can't always trust adults because they might just change their answer to be nice.
It's really good.
Kids, on the other hand, are brutally honest. So we ordered them plant-based burgers too, but might have neglected to mention it to them beforehand.
What do you think?
It's really good.
There's no meat in that burger.
Wait, what? You're lying.
Plants.
That was a plant burger.
You ate a plant burger.
Instead of meat, it was vegetables. It just tastes like extra juicy.
And so, feeling more confident than ever, it was time to visit Bill, put my culinary skills to the test, and see if he could help me answer my final question.
So I'm back in Bill's kitchen. He's gonna be here in an hour, and I need some groceries. All right, Bill.
Hey,
good to see you again. So I've been working hard in your kitchen.
Perfect.
And I kind of wanted to talk to you about plant-based meat, and I thought maybe we could try them out as well.
Sure.
But as a control, I know you're a big fan of Dick's Burgers, so to kind of cleanse the palate, I thought we could just take a bite.
That's the real thing.
The real thing. As a non-Seattle native, I've got to say, I think this may be an acquired taste.
Yeah, you get used to a certain burger.
You get used.
And so now it's time for my cooking.
What do you think?
It's quite good. I mean, that's light years away from what they used to make.
Like the traditional veggie burger?
Right. You know, the quality's going to keep getting better. The plant-based guys are not done inundating. Eventually, they claim you won't be able to tell the difference.
Next up was my killer bratwurst.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And at this point in my quest, I felt like I had a pretty good lock on questions 1 and 2. So I asked him about number 3.
The agriculture sector is about 18% of overall emissions. But
livestock is about half of that, 18%. Wow. And almost all of that is beef.
Is this like cow farts, cow burps?
Slightly more burps than farts, but it's a mix of those two.
To put that into perspective, that means that sector alone is responsible for more greenhouse gases than all the cars, trucks, trains, ships, and planes combined. Turns out, it takes a lot of stuff to make a cow.
Very inefficient, particularly beef. It's only 1 use 8 calories to feed that cow for every calorie you get out because you're building bone and respiration for that cow.
Now, this was a really good point I hadn't fully considered. If you think about it, as humans, we're really solar powered. We eat plants, but they get their energy from the sun. Then you might be like, we also eat animals though. But they get their energy from plants too, which again, get their energy from the sun. So when it comes to getting our energy from the sun, animals are an inefficient middleman. We get on average 10% of our calories or energy in a day from meat. That might sound reasonable until you look at the amount of resources it takes to make that meat compared to the other 90%. If you combined all the land in the US dedicated to raising animals, you would get an area like this. And then plus this much more to grow the crops needed to feed those animals. And remember, all of that is for the middleman, for 10% of our daily energy. Now compare that to the amount of land needed for crops we actually eat ourselves directly. That relatively small chunk of land is where the overwhelming majority of our personal energy comes from. And it's not just land resources, but water as well. To end up with 24 hamburger patties, it requires the amount of water you see in this pool. That same amount of water could make 75 loaves of whole grain bread and 30 jars of peanut butter. So if I made myself a delicious peanut butter sandwich, which has nearly the identical amounts of both calories and proteins compared to this patty, and then I ate 2 a day, the meat would last me a little over a week, and the sandwiches would last me a little over a year. So that's the same amount of resources used, same amount of calories and protein to me per serving. One just lasted me a year longer because it's a much more efficient energy transfer method. This is why a plant-based diet is a way more efficient use of natural resources. We could feed an additional 3.5 billion people worldwide if all countries just ate the stuff they fed to animals. And here's why that fact matters.
Particularly as people get richer, they tend to eat more meat. If we don't do anything, this sector will actually grow over time.
So you're saying not just the fact that there's more people and a larger population, but as people move up towards the middle class, they want to consume more.
And you can certainly see that this is true when you look at the amount of meat consumed over the past 50 years. Given the resources required, a trajectory for meat consumption like this is simply unsustainable. A few decades ago, meat was considered a luxury product, but now it's a commodity for a growing number of people. In fact, the demand is growing so much, it now makes sense for farmers in the Amazon just to burn it down and to turn that forest into grazing land for animals. We've irreversibly lost 20% of the Amazon so far. And that's a double gut punch, because now not only is that more cow farts adding to climate change, but when you burn those trees, all the carbon stored inside them goes back into the atmosphere as the greenhouse gas CO2.
One of the great tragedies about climate is that it's the fourth of the world that live fairly near to the equator, that all this heat and flooding and drought, they're going to suffer by far the most. You're just trying to get people to cut back. Don't eat meat, don't drive to work, don't take trips. It's such a dramatic set of sacrifices that everybody has to engage in. So without innovation, we're probably going to go way past the degree.
And that last part is the silver lining. Plant-based meat is the exact kind of innovation Bill's referring to here. And I'm optimistic because as the demand for plant-based meats goes up, the price will come down, much lower than actual meat. So then not only will the experience be identical to eating meat, but it's better for you, better for animals, and much better for the planet. Oh, and it also costs half as much. It just becomes a really easy decision for people to switch in massive numbers. All right, so what does this all mean? Now that I've completed my quest for answers, where do I stand? And I'll say it still makes me really uncomfortable to think about these factory farms or the Amazon being burned down to make room for more cows. But at the same time, I can't really blame these poor remote farmers who know nothing about what a greenhouse gas is for just trying to feed their family. As long as the demand for meat continues to grow, there will be an incentive to be not cool to our mutual friend, Mother Earth. So the most effective thing we can do is try and reduce that demand. So after all this, I'm not a vegan. I'm not even strictly on a plant-based diet, but I have reduced the amount of meat I consume by more than half, and I feel great. Importantly, I've broken from that weird mindset that for it to be considered a true meal, it has to have some form of meat. So if any part of this video rang true to you, I would say don't take my word for it, try it for yourself. You can find plant-based meat options in thousands of restaurants, and even at Burger King and Carl's Jr. Most grocery stores have a whole section dedicated to them, so you can substitute it into your favorite home cooked meal. And remember, it doesn't have to be binary, like you either eat no meat or you're frickin' wrong swans. If a bunch of people did Meatless Monday, for example, that would have a huge impact on demand. Some of the challenges we face globally can feel pretty daunting, and so I love seeing clever people innovating on the front lines, trying to make it as easy as possible for the rest of us to make the right choices. It gives me hope about our future here together, and inspires me to want to do my part.
She thought of all the toughest climate problems that livestock was going to be the toughest. Now with these companies and other ones coming along in this space, I'd say steel and cement are now the two that I'm still scratching my head.
Well, if anyone's going to be scratching their head to solve the problem, I think humanity is grateful. Bill Gates is the one doing it. So on behalf of, I don't know, the world, we appreciate the efforts you're making. I have some celebratory pizza rolls last year. Actually, they're frozen. You don't have to.
Thank you.
It's just a drop. I'll spare you.
You tricked me, Marco Robo!
Open it in his house. Hello. But what he doesn't know is that this is a new and improved custom-built vape package that is recording him on 4 different cameras that just released a pound of the world's finest glitter along with some other nasty surprises. Whoa! But to understand how we got to this point, we need to go back 1.5 years. Because that's when someone stole a package from my porch, and the police wouldn't do anything about it, even with the video footage, which made me sad. And so, drawing inspiration from one of my childhood heroes, I decided to make a bait package to lure would-be thieves, and the internet seemed to like it. But despite my best efforts, 1.7 million packages are either stolen or go missing every day. Hello? Macaulay Culkin? No, wait! I'm sorry, it's just that Home Alone was the entire inspiration for the glitter bomb.
No, that's cool. I love that. Your design was good, but actually I think I can make it a little bit better.
As with Macaulay's Self, my friend Sean and I have literally spent the last 10 months designing, building, and testing a new and improved design for 2019. So today I'm going to walk you through all the upgrades and then show you what happens when you unleash 10 of these bait packages on random suburban porches all across America. We started with a complete redesign of the box to make it more streamlined and secure. For contrast, last year's design was a bit of a rat's nest. The fundamentals are still the same, where you have a battery-powered custom printed circuit board on the bottom that has a built-in accelerometer so it can sense when it's been jostled, and then it tells these 4 phones to start recording. And these are wide-angle lenses, so as you can see, you'll be able to record the thief no matter which side they open it from. And then right here we have some fart spray, but we added a second bottle this year. So as both these motors spin cams around, not only does it spray twice as much, but we changed the formula this time around, and it is wretched.
Dude. Oh, man. Oh, it's in my mouth, man. I feel like I just ate a turd. Never done that, to be clear.
And just to prove how much worse it was, I sprayed last year's formula labeled A, and then this year's formula labeled B for 10 different people without telling them which was which.
Oh! That's like proper poo. Oh, God. He just took a dump on my face. I'm still smelling. I'm sorry, I killed Macaulay Culkin.
So, A or B, Zach?
B by a mile.
All 10 independently agreed this year's was much worse. And then we keep spraying it every 30 seconds to ensure they get rid of the package out of their house before they realize there's 4 phones inside. This increases our chances of recovering it since we already know the package location at all times due to the GPS tracking on all the phones. But even if we somehow don't recover it, all these phones have LTE data plans, so they'll upload their footage to the cloud right away so then we can see what happened. And then we have the main course, which is the spinning cup powered by a motor underneath here, which we fill with the finest glitter we could find, which is actually biodegradable this year as a nod to our good friend, Mother Earth. We also added sound effects this year, so after both the glitter and the fart spray have successfully deployed, we start counting down.
5, 4, 3.
Nothing actually happens at the end, but they won't know that. And then finally after that, we added some fake police scanner chatter, just because it seemed like the right thing to do. So as you can see, once you slip this cover over, it becomes nearly impossible to access the phones now without special tools. And so finally we've got the lid, which has these 2 holes here, which we cover with one-way film, so we can record the outside world even when the lid is on. And you'll notice that this is a total custom frame. These are the fictitious Buzz 700s, named of course after Kevin's older brother. And if these took just 2 seconds to actually inspect the package, they would see that all the words on the side are just slightly modified quotes from Home Alone, in addition to this amazing testimonial. And so then we just slapped on a fake shipping label and used a random barcode sticker to cover up the nightly charging port, and we were good to go. So the idea is the bad guy comes sneaking by and then steals it off the porch. And then when they eventually remove the lid, a magnet taped inside triggers this Hall effect sensor, which tells the circuit board brain it's go time, and everything is set in motion. And as far as I'm concerned, relatively harmless, karmic justice has never looked so beautiful. And so now all that was left was to find porches for all the boxes. So I sent out a call to all my followers on social media, and we received over 400 applicants who have all dealt with repeated package thefts in the past. And then from that, we narrowed the list down to just a handful, and soon we had packages out all over the country. We also set up a website so I could sit in my bat cave here and monitor all the boxes to see their current locations, record states, battery phone levels, and even check the camera feed on any box at any time. And things started out a bit rocky when we got a notification that the first box was stolen, and then we noticed it was intermittently moving all throughout the city. So while we were trying to locate it, we checked the feed and realized a UPS driver was so convinced the package was real, he scanned it and picked it up, and it was riding around in his truck. Next, when someone else picked up the box, we didn't have the lid seal fully worked out yet, so as they were walking around, glitter started to spill out.
Yo, Nick!
Which is, as they say,
giveaway. It's totally a scam. When you open it, it's gonna explode with glitter.
This lady took it off a porch, but opened it upside down. As soon as she heard the countdown timer, though, she rushed it back to the porch she stole it from, just in time for nothing to happen. But then the thefts began to pile up, and we started hitting our stride.
Operation Super Nasty Fart initiated.
15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Down this package and recovered it by the dumpster. We walked by the store and they were sweeping and spraying Febreze, which felt amazing. Who obviously knows my channel and follows me on social media, who I even interviewed to make sure he seemed legit, decided it would be a good idea to steal my package from me and never had any intention of either putting it out on his porch or sending it back to us. After a week of us being really nice and trying to work with him, he effectively admitted as such and then blocked and ghosted me. And it's just like, bro, if you're gonna steal from someone, don't pick the dude who just spent a year and a half of his life avenging theft of a $5 Amazon package. If I'm willing to get that petty over something I could easily reorder, what do you think I'm gonna do to the guy who steals the outcome of that year and a half of work? I quit my job at NASA to make YouTube videos, and I only make 12 of them a year, so I have plenty of time, and I love to obsess over these little details. Plus, even though this is more of a science channel than a prank channel, I love coming up with these ideas, like when I took this Freddy Krueger action figure and taped it to the back of my wife's car right in front of the backup camera. So if you put it into reverse, this is And so after a little detective work, I discovered he gave us his real name and phone number, but he shipped it to his buddy's address. So I found his real address and then did two relatively harmless things. The first is I've heard once the Scientologists have your contact info and know you're even remotely interested, they will follow you the rest of your life. And so since I had all his contact info, hypothetically, I might have gone on their website and said I was very interested in learning more, and then ordered $300 worth of their starting course material so they know he's a very high-value contact worth keeping track of. And the second thing was, I designed over 10 custom postcards just for him. For example, he's from Texas, so I thought a thank you note for his $500 donation to Texans for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign would be nice. Or this registration confirmation for the upcoming furry convention. But the trick is, while I addressed it in his name, I went on Google Maps and looked up his neighbors' addresses, and hypothetically, I might have accidentally sent them to a random assortment of houses around him. A lot of these are great because it's the exact type of thing where the more you deny it, the more guilty you look. So some of these will inevitably be hand-delivered to his mailbox by his neighbors who spot the air, and he'll always be second-guessing just how many more there were and who's silently judging him at the neighborhood potluck. Now I want to mention we encountered good people out in the world too, who were trying to actually keep our boxes from being stolen. For example, this woman did that, but even still the package was stolen just 30 minutes later by a professional porch pirate who knew exactly how to cover up her face. But then we said, hold up, roll that tape back. Unbelievably, she has the same body type and owns the exact same shoes and pants as that Good Samaritan. So we turned the footage over to the police to see if they too could appreciate the coincidence. And it just goes to show you that your conception of who a porch pirate is might be totally off. I'm just kidding. This was a super nice lady who took the package in for her neighbor. But it got us thinking, and instead of just always punishing the bad guys, we wanted to try and reward the good guys. So in some cases, we left it by an apartment mailbox, and we changed the label to a real name and left tons of contact information like phone number and email all over the label. And quite a few people took the package back to their house, but instead of opening it, they called to tell us they had our package because they were worried someone else would take it. And so instead of glitter and fart spray, I gave them $400 because that was the opportunity cost for them when they made the right choice.
Thank you for being one of the good ones, man.
Others, however, didn't make it.